Hey, everybody. Welcome. All right, should I start this off properly? Hey, now. Welcome, guys, to the third episode of the Tuesday Night Football Show. I am your host, Chris Vassar, a.k.a. Coach Vass. We will be talking tonight about the Ravens' performance against the Chargers. We got some really, really good stuff to get into. I'm really excited about it. Found some really, really good stuff. So so some concepts that are decently cutting edge, meaning there's not a lot of information out there about it. So looking forward to that. Joining me tonight, are you going by Spenny Powers? Is that because I was called you Spencer?
Spencer Schultz, Spenny Powers. I'm a big Kenny Powers fan, and some of my buddies started calling me Kenny, so started messing around a little bit. The old KP, the man with the golden arm, the man who can throw it faster than fuck. That's my guy. So a little homage to him there. Yeah.
Welcome, Spenny. He is going to be talking tonight, filling me in because, as you know, I am an agnostic fan study guy, and obviously I know the players, but not nearly as well as Spenny does. So, Spenny, before we get started, before we get into all the good stuff, go ahead and introduce yourself and what do you do and where you cover the Ravens and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, Vass. I'm honored. I learn a lot from you, so I'm really excited to come on. I currently cover the Ravens for SB Nation subsidiary Baltimore Beatdown, one of the many, many branches of SB Nation. I was with Sports Info Solutions last year, who is doing some really great things with advanced metrics and player charting and things like that, and just trying my best to be a student of the game. And I'm excited to come on and be able to learn. You can find me at Ravens4Dummies. That's the number 4 on Twitter and all that good stuff. So I appreciate it. I'm excited to get going, man. I've been a fan for a long time, brother.
Well, I certainly appreciate the kind words, and I am excited. We did a little pre-interview, and I was not really feeling all that great last night, and so I frantically DM'd you and was like, I need help. Help me. And you jumped in the Zoom and helped me out and get me right. So as you know, if you've listened to the first 2 shows, or I guess I'm so used to the podcast. If you've watched the first 2 shows, I live by the Mina Kimes world of or code of know their name. So the first time when I talked to Mina, when before I did her show, she had heard some stuff I'd done, and I'm like, I don't know, 64, 97, and she's like, fans don't always know the numbers. You need to do the name. So
that's coach speak, though. You're talking 20, 42, 44. You see a new guy every week. You don't know John, Jane, Joan, Jimmy, Joseph.
And that's not like a gimmick. Like there would be, and I've told the story before, but we would get to Friday or Saturday, depending on what level and what school I was at. And the kids would be like, so I'm covering Jackson, right? Just to make sure. I'm like, who? But this is the day of the game. Like, we're about to go, and they're just like checking the check. Hey, in this situation, I'm going to travel and do this with Jefferson. I'm like, I don't know who Jefferson is. They're like rolling their eyes. 12. Oh, yeah. You got 12. So I appreciate you filling in and all the, hopefully get some good anecdotes about the Ravens too as a whole. So I listened to the people. I got a little red dot. I don't like the yellow. I like the yellow circle spotlight thing for when you're doing film and you're doing breakdowns and you're stopping the film and you spotlight. But having that red or yellow circle rather is distracting as hell to me. So I got a program. It turns now. The one thing I don't like is there's a red dot around my mouse, the mouse cursor. I wish it disappeared. I wish it was just a red dot, like a laser pointer.
Right.
But I got what I got. So I'm going to try that tonight. You got to listen to the people, give the people what they want. So that was the big request from last week. And so hopefully, and I've closed out. I realized last week I had a bunch of stuff open and with 2 other guys on the film got choppy. So in this stream, if the film does get choppy, the problem about putting the clips in like Premiere Pro and doing it off of that is I lose a lot of the data that I have in Huddle. I can't see it all.
Premiere just takes so long too.
Yeah.
exporting and everything. It makes a project all that you can do. So it's great, but I feel you on that one for sure.
Yeah, I stopped making videos last year because I'm like keeping stuff to like 15 minutes just isn't my thing, because you can only go so deep in that span of time. And so I was like spending all these times doing these videos and like taking 3 weeks for one 45-minute video. And there was one I did on one Blitz, and I was just like, this is not great. So I think what I'm going to do, and we'll kind of throw this out, maybe I should wait when there's more people on. But one of the things I was thinking about doing, and Spenny, you tell me if this is a good idea. And you're not here to like tell me what I want to hear. Like if you think it's a shitty idea. So we started this, I guess it would be week 4 of the NFL season. So obviously we're only going to get to cover, I don't know, 13, I can't do the math, 13, 14, well, with the bye 14 weeks of the season plus the playoffs. So we're not going to get to cover every team, but I do want to hit every team. So I'm thinking maybe after the new year, pick the teams that we didn't cover in season, pick their best game, and maybe do this every other week to kind of fill in some time during the off season. Because I know we're not going to get, and we may do one team twice. I mean,
right.
Especially when we get to the AFC, NFC championship games in the Super Bowl. I mean, there's only so many options at that point. So, and I also don't want to limit myself. Like if the Bears, just throwing this out there, if the Bears have a dominating performance 3 weeks in a row and it's just fantastic, and there's lots to talk about, I'm not going to do like the bullshit that people do with like player of the week. Like if it's the game of the week, it's the game of the week. And if it's the same team, I mean, I'll try to vary it up, but like the Ravens game was obvious that this was, I told you during the pre-interview, it was like the third series. And I wrote down, I think I'm going to do the Ravens.
You saw Herbert get a little in his eyes.
Yeah,
he told me.
Yeah, I saw the I see ghosts from Darnold look. So I was like, I'm going to do this, but I didn't want to announce it because, like I said, you know, the NFL it's turned into the NBA where, you know, the teams are down by 30 points and all of a sudden, I mean, not quite 30, but teams can come back at any point. So I didn't want to
3 touchdowns. Yeah, it's gotten crazy. It's what they want, but it's gotten a little nuts. It makes life a little hard in your eyes.
All right, so it's week 6. We just finished week 6 yesterday officially. We're already into bye week territory. How are you feeling as a Ravens? Now, this may be a stupid question, but what did Forrest Gump say? Stupid as a stupid does. Which I live by that code. Are you a Ravens fan?
I am a Ravens fan. I grew up in the area. I'm a Ravens fan.
Okay, I just checked because some of my friends are journalists.
Right.
That they're not fans, but they're assigned to a team, and that's they end up liking the team. You almost like I couldn't. It's not that I couldn't stand. Let me start over again. Like I wasn't a Warriors fan in the Bay Area until I was there for like 9 years because it was hard not to be. I mean, the same with the
assimilate into the environment that you're in.
Yeah, when all of your friends are excited, it's human nature. When all of your friends are excited about something and you don't have like a pre-hatred of it.
Right. That's the one qualifier.
Right.
You can't hate them ahead of time, but yeah.
Like if I had moved to Buffalo and the Bills got really good, I don't know if I'm a Dolphins fan at heart. Maybe football's the wrong sport to use because I'm not really a fan of what team. I say I grew up a Dolphins fan, but I'm not like, I don't watch them every week. If they're good, I'll watch them because I want to watch good football. That's, you know, I'm not in that fan territory, but I always ask because sometimes guys get forced into it or they're kind of fans and they like it a little bit, but you know, from what I can tell from looking at your stuff, you're a Ravens fan that wanted to make Ravens content.
Yeah, that's definitely the way it started. And I've gone around and done some things, you know, covering teams specifically for companies and things of that nature. So it's definitely something I've struggled with over time, trying to remain objective as I can. And over time, it's just a little more fun to throw in, you know, you root for them a little bit in terms of the content I create and things like that. But I really, really, really genuinely pride myself on trying to remain objective. And sometimes that's when, you know, no football player is perfect. No football coach is perfect. No one's perfect. So then all of a sudden it gets into this gray area of, oh, well, Lamar Jackson didn't do this here, or, you know, I don't like this call, or something was messed up schematically. And then it's like, how dare you say that? And say, well, I'm at my absolute soul, I'm scouting. I'm trying to remain as objective as I can, but it's it's a fun but also tiresome seesaw to teeter covering a team you're a fan of. And even if you're a journalist that, let's say, for instance, Jeff Zrebeck, who covers the Ravens for The Athletic, he's definitely a great resource. I know he's from New Jersey, but, kind of over time, it's kind of like when the Ravens are really good, your livelihood depends on it. So, it might end up making your wallet a little bit fatter when the Ravens are good. So it's kind of hard not to have a little bit of a yearning for them to do well at certain points in time. But I mean, at the end of the day, we're watching football, we're talking football, we're having fun.
What's that old quote? Every time I want to quote this, I screwed up. I think it was Upton Sinclair said, "Never trust a man whose livelihood depends on the outcome of whatever." I totally butchered that, but so when I'm a fan, it's the opposite. So like I'm a Hurricane. You could see it. I don't know the camera setup, but over my left shoulder to my right camera, I'm still not used to this shit. But one of my best friends had that made for me as a doormat. I'm like, I can't step on my own name. It's very strange. And I've got Hurricane stuff around. I mean, I went to school there. I was a fan since I was 3. I went to school there. I worked for the team. Like, it's hard. I know a bunch of the guys that were really good and all that stuff. And but I'm like harder on the Hurricanes than anybody. And I think that might be part of the Hurricanes fan base. Like, we just shit on our own. It's a Miami team. So we're just like, nah, we're terrible no matter what. And like, it takes us to be extraordinarily good for me to be like, all right, we're all right. Now, I don't know if that's just a Chris Vassar, sorry for referring to myself as a third person, but like, if that's a me personality thing, or like, I think
that does happen in fan bases. Like the Yankee, like New York sports, they're the most critical of their own teams. It feels like. I got a bunch of buddies I went to school with that those New Jersey and New York people always are migrating out because there's too many of them and not enough colleges. So they're the most critical. Fire this guy, fire that guy. Playoffs aren't good enough. Championship game's not good enough. All that stuff. So it just kind of, I feel like it varies by where you are in the culture and the fan base itself.
Right. So how are you feeling about the season? I meant to ask you that's why I asked if you were a fan. I forgot to ask you, like, how are you feeling about where you're sitting at now?
It's impossible not to feel really entertained, I would say, first and foremost, with the way that the Ravens obviously had Lamar Jackson misses camp because of COVID, ACL. They legitimately had 5 in the span of 3 weeks. Ronnie Stanley, the big bear left tackle can't play, all these things. And then they go into Las Vegas and lose in a close one where their offensive line doesn't look good. So a lot of people start hitting the panic button. And ultimately, they're sitting at the top of the AFC right now. Lamar Jackson has shown improvements. Every year he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% better. He focuses on things that he might not consider a real strength. And it's hard to root against or feel bad about a team that has a franchise quarterback, a head coach that's been able to survive 15, 17 players on the injured reserve at this point. So can't feel very bad considering where the altitude or where the temperature rather was a couple weeks ago. But it's been fun, man. I mean, Colts game, nuts. Comeback, like you just talked about. The Chiefs game, comeback, nuts. Even the Raiders game, in retrospect, they lose that one, but that was an awesome game to watch. All these primetime games they have. The Chargers game turns into a little bit of a party there. So it's been a really interesting season. And I'll just say, from Gladiator, are you not entertained at this point? It's hard not to be.
Yeah, they're fun to watch. And I like Wink. First of all, the fact that his nickname is after a game show host is fantastic. And I like Wink. And it goes past that too, where, I like Dean Pease a lot. I wouldn't say I'm friends with Dean. I'm friends with his son, Matt. And so and I know that lineage goes back. And I know a lot of guys that have worked there, even people in the building now, low-level staffers, people in the analytics department, and just then the product on the field. It's hard not to, if you're, unless you're a Browns fan or would not get all that. Like, totally understand.
Of course.
Like I said something positive about the guy from the Browns, I just call him Joker, JOK, because I can't say his last name. And these guys are like, you're a bum, you're washed. I'm like, and then I look and it was a Ravens fan. And I was just like, okay, like,
I get it now.
I understand. And I think sometimes it's fun not to be analytic. That's why I love soccer, because I understand enough to be dangerous, but not, or I am dangerous because I understand enough to think I know what I'm talking about, but I also know that I don't. So I'll say crazy shit that like I look at when football people say, and I'm like, relax, dude. Everybody should be fired. This person, they make one bad pass, they suck. So I get it. I mean, you know, but so real quick before we get into the film, looking in the chat, the pool deck was fixed. So my two best friends in Orlando right now that I see the most, well, I haven't seen them as much because of COVID. One is they're both attorneys, and one does my business, one does my like my mom, all my mom's estate and my estate and wills and trusts and all that stuff. So one of them, we just enjoy writing demand letters because I've been getting screwed a lot. Like when I moved back to take care of my mom's house. So I've been tweeting about this stuff. So if you see stuff about like my pool deck or stuff, this guy was screwing me up for about 10 months. And then I threatened some litigation and he showed up real fast. Now Mike, out of Santa Gata, I don't know if that was just a random player you named, or that was a deep pull from the TCU podcast. But if that was a deep pull about Chris Bosh, shout out to you. The story went, one of my best friends, and mentioning Ardarius Washington, one of my best friends in coaching, Paul Gonzalez, is at TCU. I go to his house. I only get to spend one night there talking ball. I'm so excited and looking forward to this. And then we were talking about this on the pod when I had him as a guest. We started out and I couldn't care less about the NBA. Like literally couldn't care any less. And somehow we got into like a 2-hour yelling match in good nature about Chris Bosh. And then like at the end, I'm like, I just pissed away all my time to learn this stuff I want to learn, talking about a guy I couldn't give two shits about. So that's what I think that reference was. And Ted Wynn will join me if the Raiders are on, and I've already been bugging Nate. So guys, write comments.
Those dudes are awesome.
They are. Ted is and in a little self promo, I helped, and I don't know exactly when, it was a couple weeks ago, but if you have The Athletic, check out, Ted wrote an article about sim pressures and creepers. And he used my source, or he used my show, Make Defense Great Again, as a source, and then used me as a source for interviews. I think I spent a couple hours watching film with him. I haven't got to read it yet because I was busy prepping for this, but I'm excited to. But that came out today. So if you're a fan of Ted, and you're obviously here for a reason, so I'm going to shamelessly plug
Ted is also an elite wood fire pizza chef. That might be his number one skill. Watch out for that man with the wood fire. He will toast you up something mean. He's got the skills.
Ted is the only person I think I've ever seen on social media that I look forward to his food posts. Besides that, usually it's just like something you joke about, like, oh yeah, nobody gives a shit about your sandwich, but like I actually give a shit about that.
Plus, it's not all the time. He just like whenever he's been getting better over time, and you watch. So now he's only putting out the like 9s and the 9.1 pizzas, like the real good stuff. And he's like, damn, look at the like crust on this bad boy. You're like, yeah, Ted, go cook that pizza, Ted. Hell yeah.
Well, I used to live across the bridge from Ted when I lived in San Mateo. Right. So a lot of when he gave restaurant recommendations, or he'd be like, check out this dish. I'm like, yo, where is that? Because I wanted to go check it out, even though I hadn't spent a whole lot of time in across the bridge. But anyway, all right, enough of my bullshit. Let's get into the film. Guys, if the film sucks or something's wrong, holler in the chat. I'll try to keep an eye on it. I will go, not necessarily full screen, but I have to switch screens. So, Spenny, if you see some people, and I'm not asking you to moderate, but if you see somebody having issues with the film and the streaming.
I use StreamYard as well. I've already got the comments up. I'm with you, brother.
All right, appreciate you. This is only my third time using it. All right, are we taking bets on if I can switch screens? Guys, you think I can switch screens seamlessly this time? You think I'm going to screw it up or what? Do we have any bets? Do we have any odds going?
We got minus 150. He's going to mess it up.
Let's see how long. All right, here we go. So we're going to start off a little boring. We're going to start off with just some base cover one, kind of get your feet wet, kind of get everything going, and then we'll get in the exotic stuff really close, or really soon, rather. See, Jordan's so nice. Jordan's always so he's always
believe in yourself, coach.
Believing, getting me to believe in myself. All right, so I'm gonna go. I think we got it, and we got the mouse. Can you see the little laser mouse I got? I tried to step up my game. All right, here we go. First play. Okay, we got some cover one action. So I sorted this by call. So this is not. I just want to be clear. This is not in order of the game. The calls are in the order that they happen, but they're all sorted, and you'll see all over the place. I got the scoreboard shot. All right, so first snap is going to be what is known in the NFL as stretch looky. So you're going to get, so here's the only thing, I don't know if I can draw. Okay, this is great. I got the laser and the drawing tool. All right, so here's what you're going to get. You're going to get stretch. You're going to try to get the backers overcommitted and throw the slant. Now, here's the problem. Justin Houston, see, I did my homework. Justin Houston kind of just sits in this window, and Justin Herbert has to hold the ball. If he crashes down or does something but sit there in that window, this route is open. Right there is when he should throw it, and he's open. So, but I don't think he thinks he can get it in there because 50's in the throwing window. He has to clutch. He has to hold. The play breaks down. Remember, this is an RPO. They are blocking run. And this is you could tell it's a true RPO by how the front side is blocking. You'll see when it's play action. In fact, I give Patrick Queen a big plus. He sees on a boot, he sees the guard looking for work instead of climbing like he normally does in stretch. Does a fantastic job playing it. But, I mean, and it's bang, bang. He has to hold it. Ball's incomplete. So it just shows you in a certain situation like this, you know, one guy making a huge difference. The Ravens tend to set, let's really nerd out. They tend to set their 3 technique to the back, which is really interesting. It's not, that part's not interesting, but I'm kind of interested that with knowing that the Chargers ran this play, because this is a play that you want to run when the 3 is away from the back blocking. You like the 1 or the shade away from the back, but if you're going to use this as an RPO, what you want to do is you want to lock this so you can block that guy, and now you have a bigger window. Does that make sense?
Spot on. Yeah, it's all about those big, easy layups in the RPO game.
Queen does a good job because everything is flowing this way, and he would be late on any cutbacks here. He can play this slant window first. So he's playing. He takes a step. He gets back into that window super fast. And that's also, I think, what spooks Herbert. I'm sure Jordan in here will tell you that he should have thrown it. I'm giving him shit last week. There was like a throw where there was a window of time that was like fractional. And Jordan was just like, he should have thrown that. And I was like, I don't know, man. He's like, no, he should have thrown it. And so we were, talking back and forth. Love Jordan, love him in here. All right, next snap. So I'm going to talk some big picture stuff first. Let me stop here. Okay. Before we move on. So I thought the Chargers offense was, I don't know what they were doing. They threw a lot of screens against physical corners that were up on the line that are hard to get off. The Chargers don't have a lot of jitterbug
yak monsters. They don't have those freaky, twitched up athletes.
Right. Which, Mina had put up that the Chargers defense wasn't a good matchup for them on the Ravens offense. And the other way around, as we know, the game, the NFL is a game of one-on-one matchups, but collectively, I mean, I think on paper, the Chargers and the Ravens are very close. Like if you were in like a European soccer style thing where everybody played everybody once and it was based on points, I would say the Chargers and the Ravens would be up there. But going head to head, the Ravens present problems for the Chargers. The Chargers have good offensive players, but they're bigger bodies, and the Ravens have long, physical, fast corners that they can't outmuscle them. They can't twitch off the line and beat them with speed. And the other thing that I didn't understand is the use of screens, tailback screens. Almost everything the Ravens do include adding people to the backs, which is when you do not run screens. So those were a couple of things that I saw. Wink tried to change it up a little bit and run some cover 2, and you can tell that the guys are not super comfortable in the inside running it because there's a lot to it. But you need to take some pressure off the corners. He did a little bit of that. He sprinkled it enough, and he did a couple calls. It was kind of like one of those where you give a little to get a little, or really give a little to get a lot. So you'll see situations where they'll run some cover 2, and they get the first down or whatever, but it makes them think twice about some of their man beaters So, and it opens up their man stuff because you just can't play man every snap. You saw what happened with the Raiders.
Exactly.
So here's a snap of cover one. I think this is a bust. I'm not really sure what's going on here. I can tell they're locked. They're locked. They're locked. He's going to be your middle of the field post player. They've got a funnel here. So they've got a 3-on-2 funnel between these three guys have eye backs. And this is hard because they're stacked. So they have to read it post snap. Now, I don't know why most of the time when you see stuff like this, down and distance is 1st and 10. And I believe this is the first play of a series. I don't know why he just didn't slide these backers here and insert down. I'm not sure why he was playing kind of behind them. I don't know if they were worried about playing bender routes, but you get this.
Right, and then he trails the back, which is a little odd.
So I think what's supposed to happen is he's going to I think by game plan, again, this is where I'm guessing. There's certain things I can tell you guys I'm 100% or 99% sure on. I don't like to say 100% because I don't know anybody in the building enough where they will tell me exactly what happened on certain plays. They're too busy anyway. But there's things I'm more sure on. This is a guess. What I'm guessing is they didn't release the backs a lot, or if they did, it was right away. And the one thing I will say the Chargers did a good job is they would sit and block and then go, and it's screwed up. And you'll see on a couple of the cover 3 snaps, it gives them some trouble. So I think what happened was he didn't think he was going to release. So they wanted to bracket this inside. And then one of these guys keeps going. And then it's, oh shit coverage. You see what I'm saying? We're like, yep. I think, Chuck Clark's got to then run over there. And now because you have your 3 rats in the hole, your 3 guys on these 3, you have no rat, meaning you have no extra guy who could spy, and they actually spied Justin Herbert, which I thought was kind of interesting. You could see on a couple, he breaks contain at the 4-0. It's a 4-0 box now and then he slides down and gets the first down. Okay. One thing that I thought was interesting, and Spenny, if you see anything or have any nuggets on the players, feel free to jump in. One thing that I thought was interesting on this was the Chargers screwed with personnel. So here they get into 22 personnel, which is 2 backs and a tight end. And then they get into a spread formation. So they're in what I would call a 10 personnel look, meaning 1 back, 0 receivers, or 0 tight ends in terms of the look. But tight end, fullback, running back. And guys, if the laser's distracting and you want me to go back to the mouse, because I know last week we had the Raiders, and so you had a black uniforms with a black cursor. If you find the laser is distracting, I can turn it on. Just mention in the comments. This is all experimentation. So you can see, let's take it back to the top. They're all kind of looking around going, oh, shit. Because a lot of times what will happen is let's say they had over cover 3 or whatever called. If you get spread looks, because you don't want these bigger guys having to carry verticals, they'll try to get safeties on these guys or guys that are good enough at covering to make it work. But so you don't have huge holes in the defense on zone. It depends on the coordinator's philosophy. You can see everybody kind of, I'm seeing Elliott's here, like they're all trying to direct traffic. These linebackers, like, help me out with the personnel. 49. You told me
Chris
earlier.
Ford.
He's a rookie, right?
He is a third-year player.
Third-year player. Okay. Is this his first year at the Ravens?
No, he was a UDFA. He's been a special teams guy. Last year, I think he played about 200 or 250 snaps for them on defensively.
He's out here covering the fullback, which athletically is, and this is where you almost want to say, all right, screw it. Let's just play man, because you trust this guy covering. This guy's got a damn near a neck roll on and a cage face mask. You would trust and say, just go. He ain't going vertical. Go cover his ass, and we're going to lock on those receivers. The worst thing that you could do in a situation like this, especially if, think about this, the Chargers, this is the 44th snap of the game, so this is well into the third quarter. They've been having a hard time getting out off press and getting separation for the most part. So what you want to do is you want to get in a situation where the defense will check his own call, right? Well, in this situation, if this guy can cover this guy, just cover everybody, rush long enough to hold up, and then make him hold it, and then get pressure with your front 4. He throws a corner route. or no, I'm sorry, he doesn't throw a corner route. He throws a post corner outside. Look, the receiver can't get any separation. You know, there's a flag. And yes, I understand there's a flag, but
it was offensive.
It was offensive. Okay, I was going to say,
Yeah.
it didn't look defensive to me.
So, yeah, at this point, it's you're not putting any athletes on the field, it feels like, that are threatening the Ravens to break them out of what they've been succeeding in. And you're exactly right. The press, even if it was, it's not like they were jamming every time. They were just Anthony Averett, Marlon Humphrey able to mirror and flip the hips and soft shoe, and they were able to move so smoothly and stay in phase with these guys. It was very rare to see them put guys into recovery, into oh shit mode down the field. And the few times that they did, Herbert wasn't delightfully accurate, which is whatever, but they just really weren't threatening the Ravens to put them in those uncomfortable situations, get those bigger guys covering space in zone, it felt like, and just didn't. I didn't love what they did overall, but I just don't. At the end of the day, I don't think they had the personnel to really do it anyway. They could have put more speed on the field, 11 personnel instead, some other things or whatever, but they just don't have the horses. They don't have that H-back type. Like if they had a Kyle Juszczyk playing fullback, even though he's a unicorn or something, then this would have made a ton of sense to me.
Right. Or even the tight end. I mean, I think Jared Cook is the start. He's the starting tight end for the Chargers.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a Kittle, you have a Kelsey, which again, I know those guys are. That's
even
why
if you got a Gesicki or a Henry or anybody who can move a bit.
And you see why this strategy, and it's funny because we watched the Raiders do this to the Ravens, I think earlier in the year, and I think they had some success. Maybe I'm thinking of a different game. Lord knows I probably am, where they had personnel that could create some issues. Like Darren Waller is obviously one of the best. I mean, I'd say he's the best vertical tight end in the NFL. I'm talking about like outside. Like they were doing shit where they put him outside, moving him around.
Matchup problem, straight up.
But these guys aren't going to, I mean, this guy ain't going to run away from anybody's ass. So at this point, because a lot of defenses was like, shit, we can't, tight end on a linebacker. Oh my God. Well, when they got special order Nikes with the cement in them, fuck it.
Right.
Roll out there.
Yeah, if you throw it to the fullback out over there, whoever the hell that guy is, even one-on-one, that's what Wink is like. Thank you. I appreciate you for doing that. The Ravens defense is like, good. We wanted them to throw to the tight end.
I heard these guys are pretty good at football. As a Miami Hurricane, that makes me happy to see. All right. So we're going to talk about one cross. That's what I generically called it. We talked about it last week. The Bears ran it. They call it one hole. Basically what's going to happen is you're going to show too high. If you want a in-depth explanation of all this stuff and more examples of it, I try to put in the show notes exactly where, so you can check out last week's if this tickles your fancy. So what you're doing is you're playing man underneath. The NFL route that everybody runs now is the deep over route. So what you're doing is normally in one cross, you either bracket somebody. If it's 2x2, the rule is to bracket somebody. I think it's to the side. You can, well, there's different ways you can do it. The camp rule is the guy away from the back is the guy that comes down, because this coverage was invented. Okay, imagine a receiver's there. Oh shit, we're having the laser pointer's not. It's being stupid. All right, use your imagination. So there's a receiver out here. This guy doesn't exist. What you want is, if teams are going to run the shallow call or the shallow concept, which the Chargers actually do, what you want to do is you want to drop the safety away from the back, because the crosser usually comes. I think I said away from the back. Let me make sure I said that again.
You said away from the back.
I did say away from the back. Okay.
Yep.
The guy away from the back, because that's where the shallow is usually going to. So you want to drop this guy down to help on the shallow. That's kind of one of the reasons why people do it. At a 2x2, they'll do it if there's a certain guy that's a problem. And 3x1, well, that's when you run one double. If you're trying to double somebody, these guys are really doing it to match the routes, which is why you would do it away from the back. Or in 3x1, you want to do it like, for example, and you might say, let's just say for argument's sake, just so I can show this coverage. Let's say this guy's their best player, okay? And I can't even tell what that is right now. But let's just say, and you wanted to double him. The problem is, if you try and double him from the guy here, unless and 3 down with an extra DB doesn't count. I mean, that's a whole different deal. And I know right now they're an odd front with a guy walked up, but I believe it's four down personnel. Okay. But let's just use your imagination here on this. Just imagine it's 4-1. It's dime. You guys should be able to see the calls. Okay. It's hard to double in 3-by-1 if this guy is the guy you're trying to double, because you have to get, if you want to play in-out bracket, you got to stick his ass in the middle of the field, which gives away what you're doing.
Right.
Or you got to play this guy inside and this guy wide. Well, now if they're running over routes or if he's running posts, you don't want the doubling piece to be from the inside, because they're going to put the ball over the top and you're basically having to trail. And if you don't trail and you get too high, he can break inside, and now you have two guys doubling one guy and he's Scott ass free. So that's why you see a lot of the time is you'll see on the backside, they'll double from over here and let this guy play over the top. Because it's one cross, because it's built into the coverage, the automatic rule is the guy away is going to drop down in the hole and he's going to help on the over route. And you could tell that they were more worried about this route, I think. Well, Humphrey is on. That's Williams, right? So they got Tavon Young. See, Spencer got me right before.
Yep.
Okay. This is, I think I was about to say, there's one play where they threw the ball to Cook against the corner and he caught it. I think there's one later, but that's just shitty technique by the corner. I mean, I don't understand this. I mean, I know it's 3rd and 11, but you're off a guy who's not going to run by you. This is a corner. Is that
he's a corner safety hybrid. It's the dude out of SMU, Brandon Stevens. So he only played 2 years of DB. He was a 4-star running back to UCLA, and then transferred, switched to DB 2 years ago. So he's raw. You can get him with refined route running for sure.
Okay, well then that makes sense. And it's 3rd and 11, and they get 11 yards. Now, do you know where Brandon Stevens? I know I'm putting you on the spot here. Do you know where he went to high school? Maybe not necessarily school, but what state?
I'm pretty sure in Texas, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, because I knew a kid with a similar name in Northern California, and I was wondering if that was the same kid. But
yeah, he's from Plano, Texas.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you could play off and be more patient, play outside leverage, because even though this guy is looking to double here, and this is what I don't understand, he's got a cut split. So he's either going to run across the formation or he's going to run it out. Okay. Your help is right here. So get your ass outside. And if they throw any posts or any glances or anything, it's going to be hard because of a split. Now, if he was out here, it's a different story. Even if he was a little tighter, he ain't going to run. What route is that? I mean, you're not going to cut your split that far down to run a post, because then you're going to catch it over here where you can get help. You want to split out, release inside, and run the post and catch it over here. So your help is here. So get your ass outside and sit down on this route. So I don't think this is – so I know I just went on and on about that, you couldn't get the tight ends open. You couldn't get anybody open. Well, I mean, if this guy just plays outside and sits his ass down –
Plus, I mean, Brandon Stevens is a hell of an athlete. He also, if that's an in-breaker of any sort, he should be able to flip and react inside anyway. Plus, your help is there too. You can even undercut that. You're setting yourself up to get a hand on the ball.
And he fishtails out of there. So if you look, what I call fishtail is backpedaling at an angle. I mean, when he breaks his break, he's at the top of the numbers. Look where he starts out.
I like that fishtail. I like that a lot.
Get your ass out there. I don't know. Anyway, here's another example of one cross. How's the film so far? Is it smooth enough?
Looks good for me. I don't see anything in the comments.
Okay, this is good because they got me with this. So he's showing that they're weak side rotating 3. I started calling it cover 9 last week because it got confusing with some teams calling cover 6 weak side rotation cover 3. Some teams calling weak side rotation cover 3, cover 6. So I'm just going to go with 9, 3 and 9, whatever, or 3 week. So it looks like, or this is the shell they usually get into. Actually, that's not true. It looks like 3 week, because if it was cover 1, you would have this guy coming down and this safety coming back.
Right.
Elliott does a good job. He makes it look like maybe he's going to blitz. And they basically bracket this. And so what happens is here's the thing, and the Patriots do a really good job of this. They did this with Gilmore against the Chiefs, okay, when Tyreek was the 3, okay? And so it's not a novel concept. And I'm sure people have done that before. If you're playing one cross, okay, this actually is not one cross. I apologize. There would be a corner here. So what they're doing is they're basically playing. This is actually, and I'm sorry, I have this. I was hastily doing this. This is what we call cover 9 last week. So we talked about the cover 9, the way the Bears run it, and Fangio runs it, where normal cover 9, cover 3 weak, cover 6, whatever you want to call it. The weak safety would come down. He would have 4 to first crosser, meaning he would leverage number 4. And if 4 blocked, he would take the first crosser back over here. And then your backer has the bender on 3. So what they do at the NFL level is, and this was kind of started by Fangio, is they will either put this guy on it and have him basically poach the front side. They'll have him play it normal, or they'll read it based on the release of the back. So I believe it's called 9 key. So if the back swings, the safety will leverage it. He will become the bender player. If he blocks or releases through the line, I lock on and I poach. So let's say if they were playing one cross over here, because it doesn't look like they are. It looks like it's cover 3, cover 9, whatever you want to call it.
3 week, right?
Whoever was on this guy would look back to 2. So I kind of crossed my shit, but you can see him. I mean, but what's going to happen is Herbert ain't going to see that shit. He's patient. And this is why you always press on the backside of cover 3, cover 9, cover 6, whatever the hell you want to call it, 3 week. You want to press because you are one-on-one back here. The weakness of middle of the field close coverages is outside.
Forces him to take that inside release.
Yep, and you could see he is heavy outside.
Yep, outside arm is the one he's going to try to use.
He actually posts. I don't know why he hits him with the inside. I think.
It is inside. Now, I guess that would be to try and turn up if he was going to release downfield outside.
Yeah, either that or he just screwed up, which you can't. I can't tell you. I was talking about this a couple shows ago. How much I didn't realize, and the ball gets hit, but how much I realized that, or didn't realize, some guy screwed up. All right, so here is the same concept, condensed sets. Now here's my gripe with the Chargers offense. Okay, I talked about this last week, and I'll probably talk about it a lot more because it drives me freaking insane. If you're playing a team that can and will blitz from anywhere, that plays enough zone coverage, because you saw what happened, not to bring up a source subject, but you saw what happened in the Raiders-Ravens game. Wasn't it the last play? Was it overtime? The last play where they hit that deep route for basically the walk-off, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm sure, Wink learned his lesson a little bit, and especially, you mentioned some injuries. I know I'm not sure how effective the secondary is, but they keep getting in these condensed sets, and the Ravens are playing zone match cover 3, and and then latching on the routes late after they've developed. And you'll see, we're about to get into the fun stuff, the pressures. You're going to see where it becomes a problem. But anyway, they're going to do what I just said. So it looks like they're actually straight buzz rotation. So the safety is going to insert inside of the linebacker.
Right.
He's going to pick up over 3. He's your weak hook defender. This might actually be cover 1. The distribution over here made me think it wasn't, but it could very well be 1. I mean, sometimes, and to be honest with you, especially
man match now.
Well, cover 1 is man match, but the problem is guys like Wink, guys like Dean. So this all came from Fangio, and we talked about this last week. And Fangio took those rules when he was with Dom Capers. A lot of the Ravens guys do this. Rex Ryan used to do it, where they taught cover 3 from fire zone rules. So they use it because they don't use 3D coverage a lot, because most people would teach the zone, drop to your zone, and then teach fire zone, okay, we're going to take a zone away, and this is how we change it. They do it the opposite way. So a lot of the times the shit looks the same. But you see the corner. So this is what makes me think it's 1 is the corner goes to cut the crosser. The safety inserts down thinking, I'm going to take the crosser. Marlon's yelling, cut, cut, cut. So what should happen is I should latch onto this crosser. I should latch onto this crosser, and I'm now your rat. If that's in fact what they're doing. But then some of the way that they exited out of here, I couldn't tell on some of this shit because of how this guy was playing. But to me, it's you got so many people looking at the ball and playing off the ball. You got people cutting. So it's one of these things that it could be one or the other. Now that I watch it, I do think it's cover one. And I think you're right. Too. And you can see with you have a 3-2 split. So he's going to this side. So with the crossers, this guy will end up being the rat. The piece from this side will take this cross. And we talked about this in the goal line route. Whoever's letting this guy go to that side will take this, and then I will be the rat. And you can see him. This is the hardest concept on the rat stuff is mesh. And you can see him. He starts to go down, starts to pop back up, starts to go down again. I mean, that's damn hard.
Caught himself in no man's land. Exactly. Trying to fit the rat.
Here's the end zone shot. And they know it's coming too. I'll say this about the Ravens. They're talking a lot. And they don't even, and this is why I was like, I got confused at first. Is they're like, they don't know what's going on. So that's where, and again, I had to watch some of this pretty quickly. As I mentioned earlier, I was feeling a little under the weather, so I had less time to prep than I usually do. But I'm glad I'm not the only one confused. The guys on the field are also confused. All right, here's
somebody messed something up. Yeah, you can tell they talk after the play too.
Here's a little something interesting that you don't see a whole lot, and they actually play this out differently than I think you're used to seeing, but they're now playing 3 buzz. So buzz rotation means the safety that is coming down will come inside of the nickel safety, whomever, if it was base personnel. You guys can see it's nickel personnel. So he'll buzz inside. This guy will go back. Now, skinny means these are Saban terms. So there's 2 ways to play 3 deep cover. Well, there's multiple ways, but in generically speaking, okay, let's stop right here. Okay. Normally, if you're playing true zone, he would be your third. He would be your curl flat. Okay. Whatever piece is in here is your strong hook. Here's your weak hook. Here's your weak curl flat.
Yep.
Now, because it's trips, what will usually happen is they will say 4 to first crosser because you're not really playing zone because this guy's going to lock this guy down. I drew that sideways because I'm a moron, but sorry. There you go. They're locking on here. I didn't sleep well last night. Okay. So you're not really playing a zone. That's more of 2x2. But that's called skate or flood the coverage where you're pushing everybody. Skinny is a way to play man principles, or not. It's not man principles, but match principles out of cover 3. And what they're going to do, and this is what's interesting to me, and where they could have gotten, if there was a different route, could have gotten some problems here. If this dude swings and this guy does that, it's a problem. Okay, because they're playing with fire here, to be honest. And this is one of those plus minuses. I mean, it's incomplete. Great job over here. But like, hey, guys, it didn't hurt you in this situation, but it could have. So they're actually interesting. They're playing press over here. So he's going to stay on this, which first you're like, oh, is this man free? No. Because they're letting guys go. They're looking at the ball. So this is what's interesting here. It's with the 4 strong load, which is a hard concept on this coverage. You've got to push somebody out there. Now, I don't know the Ravens rules. I'm going to be up front with you, but I will tell you other teams' rules, the Saban rules, and a lot of people use them, is you can do one of 2 things. You can flood the coverage, which you need to do now, meaning you need to get everybody over there. Okay? Well, if you were to do that, you wouldn't have the corner would have to play splitting 1 and 2. This guy would have to hold off the curl. Now he's your strong hook player. I mean, he's gonna overdrop 3. He's gonna play 3. He's really playing to 2. Your weak hook defender will play the bender, and now I'm gonna play the 4 to first cross. But they almost play it out like what's known as stubby coverage, but not even. Usually what happens is one of these inside guys pushes out. So we talked about this last week. We talked about a 3-4 push and stubby would be the easy way to do this is push this through like man, then I take the next guy. That would be in stubby coverage. Well, this guy jumps off here, and he does it rather quickly. Okay, that is a problem. And I don't know the solution for them. I don't know. I have a feeling this guy is screwed up. And the only reason it's context clues. Think about this. He drives inside here and just bursts down. There's nobody there. The corner's locked like it's man. I've now widened out fast. I'm supposed to be here. Yes. And it's not man free because look, if it was man free, they'd be adding, or this guy would be looking to play over here. It's not cover one. So and they only did this 1 or 2 snaps. So I don't have a good, and I'm not an expert on the Ravens defense in terms of how all their rules. I'm teaching more. I'm using examples of plays to teach macro rules.
Yeah, it seems like that curl to a flat defender definitely was not supposed to jump that down like that. That's the error there.
Like I said, the only time you can do that if you're going to push fast is this guy has to climb, which Bama actually, this is what's insane. Bama will do what they call a post-snap area check. So for them, skinny is we're playing it like zone match. Skate means we're pushing the zone. And a lot of teams are like, listen, if it's 4x1, if there's not 4x1, but if it's gun strong, trips open or trips, we're going to check the skate. We'll play skinny if the back is over here. Saban's like, no. We're going to do it after the snap. So the corner's going to bail. And if this guy swings, we're going to turn this into a, they call it depth and divider on 1 and 2. And then everything's going to push post snap, which in a video game or a like chalkboard sounds fantastic, but they actually do it. And it's crazy. Absolutely insane how they do it. So yeah, just wild.
That's nuts. And having those younger guys, although they do get a lot of time down there, and that, I mean, Alabama's a machine in terms of the amount of the program they have, the time they have to get those guys on that page. Like the NFL guys don't have that much time.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We talked about that last week, and it's not even the time. It's like, it's the accumulation of years. I mean, if you look at the Ravens starting defense from 4 years ago, how many guys are still on it?
Well, Vaz, that's actually what's funny here is the Ravens have continuity. They have the 6 DBs they primarily use in this game have all been under Wink for at least 3 prior years to this year. So they actually do have that. So that's why I'm gonna guess. I can't quite see who that was in that Crota flat. I'm gonna guess it was either Tavon Young, who has missed a lot of time with injuries the last couple of years, or it was Brandon Stevens. I can't quite see. All I can see is a 2 there.
I think it's 25. I think
it's 2-5. So that's Tavon Young. He's been out 3 of the last 4 years with injuries. So I again, we don't know the rules exactly, but to me, just like you said, you can't be jumping that. You can't be allowing yourself to allow that vertical release from 2 or 3 and put your, that's just the space that you're going to get eaten alive allowing.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into the fun shit. All right, let's get into the pressures.
Let's do it.
3rd and 3. Had to warm everybody up. Had to get, got to get through the foundational stuff first.
Wet the whistle.
Wet the whistle. There you go. You're going to see here, they're an empty. They're going to empty.
Zone indicator.
I was like, hey, how about you, Blitz? Okay, so this is what is called, they're switching it to the safety. So I call this, I don't know what the Ravens call it. They used to call it when Rex was there, they call it Favre and Bledsoe. So here's what's interesting to me and where they have problems. When you give this presentation so let's go to the end zone real quick. Okay. When you give this presentation, the offense has to 5-0 this, unless you're going to count him in the protection, meaning we got to man this. I got him. Okay. You have to. If you slide and he goes to the slide, you just got problems, and you can't block any kind of twist or movements. You're screwed.
You're setting guys up to be blind in protection.
Now they half slide this, and that's what happens. Now here's the weird part. You don't see it on this snap, but you'll see, and they're only bringing 4. You'll see it. Calais does it a lot too, and I hate to talk shit about Calais, but you'll see stuff where they're blitzing and bringing people off the edge, and it's supposed to be normally would be like a slant. Like this is how it should look. I'm going to two-face this, meaning if the center comes away, I'm going to go off his ass. If he comes to me, I'm crossing because you got to balance your rush. One of these guys screwed up. You either need to come up here and underneath, or this guy needs to come underneath and this guy needs to come off the edge. One of the two. And I'll be honest with you, had this guy gone in right now, I don't know if he gets that ball out. And here's the great thing about what the Ravens are doing here. Let's go to the wide copy. Okay, they're running spacing, which to me is just everybody run hitches, and then you might try to widen people out. Like here, you see a little hitch with a slant, okay, or a hitch with a flat. Okay, this is also the problem with squeeze formations. Now, this may be unfair because they're not really squeezed down here. They've got good spacing. Down here, though, this time super it doesn't cost them, and you'll see it. Now, I think what they were trying to do here is trying to chip, but I don't understand why you would half slide this. I know that Herbert's looking over here, so they're saying, all right, we're going to half slide this, and you're hot in the B gap. Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. If my man here just rips inside and this guy's off the edge, he's getting his face caved. At this point, he gets hit and falls down. All you need is that half second, and it's over. Okay? Now, here it comes from. Now, I put the boundary, but it's the same damn thing. It's the freaking CNFL. It's away.
There's no field or boundary, yeah.
Away from the nickel. Now, here's the interesting part, and this is what I found really interesting. Okay, so unless, and I don't know this to be certain, but unless Humphrey's playing nickel with snap, who's this over here? Elliott. Okay, so this is a corner blitz. Okay, but first of all, buckle your fucking chin strap. Okay, I'm gonna get coach mode on here. That shit bothers me. I can't help it. I'm sorry. You're getting the mug presentation, and you're getting it. There should be a slant off the edge and a guy coming off the edge, and then they try the RPO. Now they get him open, and this is one of the things.
Ghosts.
You know, I talked to a very prominent defensive coordinator this week in college football. And he said he don't like mug stuff, and this is why, because so many people are running the ball now in long yardage situations because it's either 4 down, like especially with Staley, you get to throw out the window. Yep. It's 4 downs, and I mean, I think some of the shit he did was absolutely stupid, but that's fine, whatever. He's making a lot more money than me, but this game, that shit came back to, and I was actually rooting for him to fail on those two because I was like, you haven't done shit on offense. You're 1 of 5 on 3rd down. What makes you think you're going to get it on 4th down? And of course, he didn't get it. So, but let's watch the end zone here. So you got the slant. Now here's what you have to know. If they pull this, and this is a pain in the ass. This is one of the RPOs. It's a pain in the ass. Zone with this guy going to the flat. And actually, and you get the slider effect.
Yeah.
So this guy's coming back across. But that blitzer gets in his face. He has to change the throw. And that's just, and really, even though that is truly an RPO, they are blocking run.
100%.
It's a boot effect, meaning I'm going to leave this guy off the edge. And so it's almost like a 2 for 1. Or maybe it's not. Maybe they just said, I'm going to pull it and throw it. I don't know. But here's what's interesting is those guys are blocking.
Not every
run.
RPO is actually that run call.
This is not a pass block. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit.
No, it's not.
So that's what's weird is because it looks like a boot slider play, like double flat. Like I'm going to get him out to really widen this and then sneak this guy through. But I don't understand this play design. But this time they slant properly, and Calais is in the backfield and tackles this. He's really screwed. You got 2 off the edge because with him going out to the flat, now you've got here and you have here. What's the best way to stop boot is have 2 off the edge. What's the best way to defend zone read? Have 2 off the edge. Because if he's fucked either way. He hands his ball off. He goes and tackles the sumbitch. He pulls it for option. He gets hit in the face.
Boom. Done.
The best thing he can do is get the ball. And maybe that's why they have this to come back and say, hey, shit, well, let's bring this guy back across. And 23 does a good job. I don't like him leaving his feet, but it's incomplete. So one for the good guys.
And I don't hate that, but the part I still don't love is, again, you're not putting the ball in the hands of someone that's that dangerous anyway. And it's a nice counter, but even if they're able to convert there, they really just were struggling to generate anything explosive, and particularly on anything underneath. So they really couldn't win battles or wars in this one.
Yeah, it was tough sledding. Couldn't run the ball really well. It was a disaster. All right, so now we have nickel blitz, but they're running fire zone, meaning they're actually bringing 5. So these are the run pressures, or like the bounce pressures. We'll get to the funky stuff here in a second. This is why, and I keep rattling on about this. This is why condensed offenses versus a deep. Like if I'm playing the Ravens, and maybe this is the deal. Maybe they're like, hey, we can't win the one-on-ones. Again, these guys are smarter than me. They get paid way more money than me. They're not on YouTube on a Tuesday night. They're, preparing an actual NFL game plan. And I'm very self-effacing with that. So I take this with a grain of salt. But if I'm playing a guy that his whole thing is I can blitz anyone at any time, I don't know. I've never been an offensive coordinator. I've coached quarterbacks for a year. I could tell you that if I'm coaching my quarterback and you're bringing people closer to the core of the formation to blitz, and I can't see it, I'm not loving that.
Spread them out.
Now, this is one where Calais screws up. So Calais, and this is a problem because Calais is actually supposed to be the contain guy. So we'll watch the back end or the front end first. He's got to be the contain guy. Now he gets out there, and he may affect the throw. I can't tell, but he gets in the lane late. But that's because he's a freak of nature. Okay, this is the first 4th down play. So this is 39-yard line. This is what I don't love. It's 14-0. So I apologize. I thought it was 14-6. When I tweeted, I thought it was 14-6. It's 14-0. At this point, you're 1 of 5 on 3rd down. You're not generating any offense. What makes you think? And I know the analytics. I know the numbers. I know everybody says it's a good call. But you want to know why it's not a good call? Because it didn't work. Because sometimes it really is like that. Take the Sean Payton Super Bowl onside kick decision. If they don't get it, and they were playing, was it the Colts? They played the Colts, and the Colts scooped that up and score. It is one of the dumbest moves ever in the Super Bowl because it worked. It's fantastic. Here's why I think it's stupid. Your defense, and I know they end up, they only get 3 points off of this, and they get a stop. But I also know some other analytics. And the other analytics says the farther the fucking offense starts a drive, the less likely they are to score points, especially when the offense has like one of the greatest kickers in the last 30 years, 20 years. Okay. So, I mean, they could have turned around and and on 1st down, probably kicked a field goal from the 39 and had a shot at it. Yep. It would have been, 56 yards, but it's Tucker. So that's what Tucker, right?
Yeah, it's Tucker. And the other part for me is that I just don't, even if you get this, you're still so far from scoring.
Yeah. To me, it's you're giving up.
Right. You're going belly up. Yep. We can't trust our defense. We gotta win the game right now, down 2 scores in the 2nd quarter, and giving the Ravens immediately great field position. If you might only have 2 possessions left in the game at this point in time, sure, absolutely, go for it. But it's so early. You're quitting on your defense, and if they get it, you have, like you said, you're 1 of 5 on 3rd down. You haven't been able to generate any explosive plays. You're missing the yak. You're not getting anything going. Just because you get this doesn't mean you're still going to score. Doesn't mean you're going to impact your likelihood to win this game. So the risk and reward just isn't there for me. Just not there for me at all.
Well, and now you've pissed away one of your best plays in a money situation.
Exactly. I didn't even think about that. That's a fantastic point.
Which, by the way, this is the play that they came up with. Cool play, bro. Let's run a fucking hitch at the best corner on your team.
The best single man press corner, no worse than top 3 in the NFL.
Against and run a slant. Don't run a hitch. You don't run a hitch in the press coverage. You don't run a hitch in the press unless you got 21 backing out of the stadium like he was against Cook. You know,
Right.
I don't understand this call.
It's going to
Nothing.
be a higher percentage throw the shorter the distance is from the quarterback as well.
Yeah. The decision sucks ass. The route sucks ass. The guy they're throwing to sucks ass. And maybe he'll be a fantastic football player, but he's your third or fourth best receiver matched up on their best. What the fuck are you doing? Anyway, enough. I listen, I have all the respect in the world for those guys, and they're going to do a hell of a job. And like I said, maybe they miss the Ravens in the playoffs. Maybe if it's another game, maybe if they have to go out to, I almost said San Diego, I caught myself. They have to go to LA and they put the 5G out in that stadium and fuck with the Ravens brain waves or some shit. Maybe they have a chance to beat them, or you just had a bad day. But I don't understand. I just don't understand it. Anyway, okay. So I'm actually going to back up here. I want to watch this play. All right. So they run the Zimmer stuff.
Right. Yep. Mugged up. And even more importantly than that, and I want you to tell the thing that you shared with me here in a bit. Actually, and I'll go over that. They're in dime. Okay. They're in dime. Okay. So I'm going to explain this pressure. This is a huge one right here. Okay. This is called in the Vikings world. This is actually what it's called. Split south palms check white. What does that mean? South is we're bringing the nickel. West is we're bringing the weak safety, free safety, whatever you want to call them. Now, because they're in dime, that may change from the nickel to the dime. Everybody has their own spin on it. But this blitz has been used forever. The original iteration was you bring this guy, predetermined backer, to the side of the blitz. The 3 technique blows up field. That's a shitty drawing. Let's go to the end zone. So I'm going to give you all a history lesson too. This is like the fucking NFL Network, History Channel, everything. All right. I'm loving it. Let's go.
Here's the original blitz. And you saw this. This was like the mid-2000s. Everybody ran this in the NFL. I'm blitzing here. I'm blitzing here. I am super sticking, looping, whatever you want to call it. I'm coming off the edge, and I'm playing cover 3. Okay. I'm rotating down. I'm going back no matter what the formation is. Now, over the years, what has happened is a couple things. One is somewhere, and so I just told you I'm going to give your ass a history lesson, and then I'm telling you that I don't know exactly when it happened. But along the way, somebody figured out, oh, shit, they're not going to full slide, so I'm still going to slant, okay? And I'm going to basically let this guy rush hard, okay? Because if you have, like the Browns run this blitz, if you have Myles Garrett, you don't want him to be the end that's dropping because the guy away will drop. So this guy will go here and this guy will drop, okay? You don't want him to be the dropper. Also, what's even worse is you don't want him the guy running fucking 3 or 4 gaps over.
Takes too long.
Yeah. That's the guy. That's the sacrificial lamb. Okay. Then somewhere along the line, the guy said, hey, instead of, okay, and this is again, I'm bitching about them being all packed in here. Because if Tavon stands right here, they could literally come from any combination of 10 people could go. Not to mention, they could run split. They call it split mug gut, where this guy runs up inside. So really, it could be 11. Okay. We'll get into that in a second. Somewhere along the line, somebody said, okay, so we already have one adjustment, which is the end not rolling through in the stun. The other adjustment is, hey, fire zone 3 sucks versus 2x2, especially when you're dropping an end. Back when I learned these blitzes, you used to make a hook it call where now the backer had to be out here and this guy had to drop over the ball, and it was a useless nightmare. So here's what we'll do is we'll play fire zone 3 to palms where I'm just dropping out and I'm for the first crosser. Or if it's 2x2, I'm just going to get in a throwing lane and not be responsible for a vertical route, not be the guy that's quote unquote over the ball, only guy over the ball. And I will never have to take anything out to the flat. So we're going to rotate down the palms. And if we're coming, so now it's nickels going. If we're coming from the free safety side, so let's say Tavon does go, the nickel becomes the deep safety. The strong safety becomes the free safety. The free safety goes, okay? The third adjustment, and I think maybe the most important adjustment, I don't know, is there's a couple ways you can do it. Now, this is the real cutting edge shit. This is the stuff that I guarantee you nobody's out there talking about. And I don't blow myself very often on these things. I don't love myself up very often on these things. In fact, I always tell everybody what I don't know and how much shit I don't know. But I will tell you this: there's not many people talking about.
Give yourself the flowers.
I'm doing it right now. Hold on. There, I feel better. Here's what's going to happen. They are either going to base this off of the point of the center, or they're going to read it post snap. If you study and you say, hey, every time he points at that guy, they slide that way, then you can do it easily. And you can say, all right, you're going to go. Okay. Or you do it the other way, is you say, you're going to go unless he points at me, then you're going to go. Okay. You would never go out there on a chalkboard when you're talking in a setting like this, when you're doing shit with another coach. You can say, hey, if he points here, he goes. If he points there, he goes. But you don't want to tell that to players, because here's what happens, and I've learned the hard way, is both guys go or both guys drop. So when I'm talking to you, I'm going to say what, or if I'm talking to the kids, or in this case, grown-ass man, I would say unless. So instead of saying, all right, you're going to go if he points here and you're going to go if he points there, you're going to say you're going to go unless he points at you, because at least you have somebody coming. That's a huge coaching point, because, again, I know some guys on here that are going to rewatch this. Most of the guys that watch post live show are coaches, okay? Or if you don't know which way he's going to go and they run cross protection, meaning, because sometimes on the double monk stuff, especially if a guy is rolling to one side more comfortably, they can bring him across and let him kind of just semi-roll, not really roll, but kind of step out to the left. And that's actually a better angle than actually stepping up inside to the same side. Okay. Then you both rush, and then it's the or. We're both going to go and read it. I block him. I go, I drop. I block him. I drop, I go.
Kind of low gear, keeping yourself even so you can still drop.
And if he mollies, meaning they both go, you both keep attacking until at some point he's got to anchor at some point. That's really not.
Got to pick his poison.
Versus air raid, where those guys vertical set. Anyway, you could see them talking to each other. So here is a great pressure, but they should have read the center. So 21 is. And this is what I don't like. He's like, okay, you're going to go. Okay, I'm going to drop. I mean, they're fucking standing there looking at you.
They can hear. They're not blind, deaf, and dumb.
Look at him. He learns. He's like, I'm going to turn it on. The center's right there. Don't point at him. Okay, they bring in extra protection. He runs right down the middle of it to the side of the back. They anchor down. They're actually in a 4-2 split here. This guy comes Scott-ass free and gets the sack. So you might be like, why are you freaking out about this shit, Vass? They got the sack. Well, if they switch the back over here and he blocks the edge instead of releasing out in the route, it gets picked up. Now you're going to win one-on-ones easily. Now, let's watch when they do read the center. Same blitz, except these dumbasses spread out. Get your ass over here. Okay. It's palms. So if you guys, it's 2 read. He's just playing it like press. Basically, they're playing quarters over here and they're reading it out over here. Look at this. Watch him bitch slap him out into the bench. Oof. Rough day at the office. Okay. Now here's the end zone. Nope. Now look what happened. So now they're like playing tag. Oh, hey, no, you go. No, I'll go. Okay, maybe you go. And look at her. It's saying, go to the right. Slide to the right. He's telling them. Now you at least get now, again, I know they don't get the sack. I understand that.
Process-based, not result-based, though, because it could,
But here's my point. Is he knew that he was blitzing. Why did he know that this guy was coming? Because these guys are going, oh, shit, I got to cover. And Herbert's like, okay, this guy's clearly not blitzing. Okay. They're mugged up. So, hey, let's slide to the nickel, who's the only guy been blitzing. They haven't blitzed the weak safety all game. They didn't blitz him once. So definitely, I mean, you think this guy's, even when they switch sides, they're not in a position to blitz. So I know this is what you want, but that's the matchup you want right here. Now they actually bring him, which I don't quite get. I think they're bringing both guys, and they drop the end out. I don't quite understand this. And I almost think it's a bust. I think what honestly should have happened was you don't want to drop the end to that side. This would have been better if this guy rushes and he pops, because now they can't block both guys.
Right.
Now, this is where having the wrapping would be a good option, especially now. Justin Houston is a good player, but he ain't a Myles Garrett. This is where having that ability to run right off this and hug this may be good. Anyway, again, I know I'm saying it was a shitty, and it wasn't shitty. The first one wasn't shitty, but I don't want to rush a guy into the center and just waste his ass. Now, here's my defense of the spread out stuff. Herbert is able to see all this because these guys are spread out, and he could see these guys running around.
He's checking, but he's eliminating options by spreading them out. He's not coming. He's not coming. He's not coming.
How can you see it when it's like this?
You can't. You can't.
And here's the thing. They actually slide this direction. So for you guys who've been like, well, if they slid, he would have picked him up. Watch this. It's the same shit. The slide is the same. But they don't have enough people. Could you imagine
Nobody's
a world
hot either,
where they read this and this guy comes too. And this guy pops to this side.
Spot on.
Jesus. I mean, this guy don't get the sack and you're only rushing 5 people. And
the guy who's mugged over the right, Gabby, who's had the line on, is going to be able to eliminate both of those, that little bunched 87 and 15 alone in that first read. He's going to be able to take away any hot read then. And
why? Because they're fucking standing right next to the tackle.
Yep.
That's what I don't understand. All right.
Against a team like the Ravens that blitzes so much, so often off of the edge, you want to spread them out. That's what the Chiefs do. That's why the Wink can't blitz Mahomes, because Mahomes spreads Andy Reid, Mahomes, the enemy. They spread you out. They check off options. Someone's hot. They figure out who's not coming, exactly like you just said, and then they pick you apart underneath.
It's infuriating. I don't understand this. This is where, and don't get me wrong, the Chargers have a winning record. They're still a very good football team, but I just don't understand this. This is still early in the game. So I'll give you that. I'll say, okay, it's early. Maybe they thought we're going to play more man. Hell, their number one call was cover one. The Ravens were smart, though, and played one on early downs when they were going to get all the play action shit, and played zone on third down when Chargers had their man beaters ready. So they flipped it on them. But here, this is play 42. There's 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Now they say, hey, let's break out of this, and they get a 15-yard completion. Anyway, I'm off the soapbox. I'm get fired up.
If you're taking that long to make adjustments, you're dead. You got to be able to make them from drive to drive. At the NFL, you got to be able to make them from drive to drive. Can't be taking a quarter or 2 or 3 quarters.
They got the fucking Surface Pro and get to work. All right.
Get your tablet, get your cute blue tablet, and get to work.
Right. So here we go. We got split mug south or split south. I just put mug for my own. The problem is I break down so many damn defenses. Some defenses split. So this is what screwed me up. So I did the Browns the first week where I'm not sure, but following their lineage, split is double threes, no mug. The Vikings that I've also breaking down, I haven't done a thing on them yet, but I've been breaking them down. They're split, but split to them means double threes, 2 guys mugged, and just double threes by themselves means rush. The Ravens, a G, a 3, a 5, and a 9 is rush. So, I'm all screwed up with the language.
You're speaking like Spanish, Portuguese, and Italian.
Tough. I know about 15 to 20 defenses, pretty good. And half the time I have to go, okay, let me step back. All right, so I told you versus 3x1, they're going to run fire zone. They're an empty. So they're in the process of being like, oh, shit, we got to figure something out. But they actually go back to 2x2. And so they run palms again. So they actually bring – okay. So this is where I think I might have lied. Actually, no, I didn't lie. So it's away from the passing strength, but for some reason, oh no. I'm sorry. I lied. I said that they didn't bring the weak safety. They bring him here. So I apologize. But now you can see I told you that they would move Austin. Remember you were saying that they put Austin back to safety. This is part of the call. So they pull him back. He's now playing palms. He's going to go. Okay. He's going to be the inside dropper. I'm going to read two. Now, again, they may check this coverage because they're playing 2-read coverage, but when they're tight like this, most teams that run 2-read coverage will change what they do because, yeah, I mean, it's just then they just go out and throw a screen. They get the first. I mean, this is the end of the game, or they do not get the first. They're short, but I just wanted to show the blitz because we've been talking about the blitz. So I grabbed some examples. There's some other clips of this when it gets to the end of the game where I'm just like, screw it. You can see they push him out to the coverage. I love this block bite. Check out this chip block. What is this? What does he think? It's fucking freeze tag? Tag, you're it. I gotta stop dropping. That's some sweet blockage right there.
I just want to touch your tummy real quick. Give you a little belly rub, Buddha.
I've seen. Well, it's a screen away, so they get 2 off the edge. But Jesus, that makes me nervous. How much are they paying this cat?
Millions and millions and millions.
You better hope. Here's what I'll say. This is why I don't understand. You better freaking hope that they're not in cover 2 where this guy is pressed. If he has to clutch this ball at all, he's going to get sawed in half.
Especially big tree, 6'6", Justin Herbert. Gonna get cut right down.
That makes me nervous. I know the ball gets out, but that's the shit that makes me nervous. All right.
Any hesitation.
Here is the 3. Okay, so I told you they'd play 3 deep. So this is when this shit is really dangerous. Okay. Now, think about the Vikings. They have Harrison Smith. I did the Bears last week. Everybody said, let's talk about Eddie Jackson and like how much is he worth. Anybody that can line up here, we talked about this during the pre-interview. Anybody that can line up here, run back and cover a third, and also blitz off the edge and win a one-on-one with the back and cover man coverage in the slot, that guy's worth some cash. And this is why.
Mr. Elliott's in a contract year right now as well.
He is? Okay, Well, then there you go. So here is what's going to happen. I don't remember what they did in here, but, I mean, look at this. It looks like cover 0, right? And you'll see Wink on, like, the second to last play calls the cover 0. There's, like, one cover 0 blitz out of this, and he actually runs it. It's savage.
I think he was probably getting a little pissy. They were still playing real hard and not kind of, ending this.
Yeah. So here's another quick bubble screen. This is what happens when you leave large humans that get paid millions of dollars unblocked. The blitz stops this right into it. So they're running 3 fire zone. I know it's hard to see because they're getting the ball out. They're thinking, oh shit, it's cover 0. It's cover 0. Check the screen. Now they're short a man. I'll tell you this. They're short. They've got, I will say this. Now I'm kissing Wink's ass and all this shit, but like, they also have 2 blockers, and
3-on-2. It's a 3-on-2 for the offense. Yep.
Well, and on defense, you always want to be +1. They are really short. The guy that's supposed to be coming out there is out here, and that still makes just even numbers. So I get it, but sometimes the good guys win.
Get off the field. I mean, that was almost straight to the house too. It was a little too high for it. Oh, good thing they were out wide enough in that alignment. They're on the left hash, throwing pretty far out there towards the numbers, because if that was a little shorter for whatever reason, might be right in his hands.
So I'm at the mercy of the film god. So they're already set. They turn the camera on late, and there's a reason that they do that. But you can see them here. They're deciding who's going to go, or they're like, hey, make sure you're watching this.
Yep.
What I don't like is the body language of the rushers. Before out of these 2 cats, who do you think is rushing and who's not? I mean, this gives away that he's dry. Is his hands on his knees?
Yeah, he's ready to.
Does he have his hands on his knees, or is he saying the rosary? I mean, what is going on? He's got his hands folded on his knee. I mean, that's the shit. Like, this is high school shit.
Yep. Guys, be neutral all the time.
All right, this is 4th and 13. Here is Wink just says they actually bring 7, coach, 7. So they're playing man here. I don't know what Elliott's looking at because he is the back. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. He has the third. He has this guy. So if he just goes out into the flat,
it's a lot of ground to cover.
It's a first down. I mean, this is a call you make. Well, this is a call you make when you're up 28 with how much time on the clock?
6 minutes.
2 minutes and 30 seconds.
2 minutes.
And you're in the high red zone, or you're in the whatever, the fringe, whatever people call it now.
Fringe.
He's clapping, going, "Oh shit, something's happening. This ball's got to come out now." I mean, and somebody's got to adjust this. I mean, I know it's 4th and 13, but Jesus, throw a slant on the run, and now this guy's got to make an open field tackle coming down. I mean, that's better than. I mean, your odds are better than holding the ball against cover 0. He gets hit in the face, ball sails out of bounds. What I didn't like about the Chargers is I never want to say somebody gives up. That's, you never want to question integrity or professionalism, but they didn't look like they were playing all that hard towards the end. And like, it just bad body language. I know you're losing, but here is a 4th down call. This is the second 4th down call. So let's look at the situation. It's 24-6, 6.5 minutes. It's 4th and 1 on the 19-yard line. Now this is an old study, and I understand that, but Jimmy Johnson had that infamous field hit chart thing, okay? Where, because I believe at this point, and I don't remember exactly, but I believe the Chargers defense came out in the beginning of the second half and did okay. I could be wrong on that. I could be making that up. But the Ravens did most of their damage in the first half, no? Or am I wrong? If I'm wrong, tell me.
No, they went up 14-0 quick. They were bleeding him to death in the first half, and it was a little stagnant in the beginning of the second half for sure.
I know you're trying to jumpstart your team, but you are basically handing them at least 3 points. Even if they lose 20 yards, you're handing them, or 15 yards, you're handing them points. So it's 4th and 1 on the 19-yard line. You're going for it again. And Wink says, "You know what? This is a country ass day 1 install for most high school teams. I'm pinching the line. Saban calls it Eagle Blitz. I'm bringing a guy off each edge. I'm playing man. Someone needs to cover that guy at some point. I think he is. I'm sorry. I missed that guy.
Yep.
So Clark has 3. Austin has the 2 receiver. My man has the back. We're bringing 6. We're up in everybody's face. And they run a hitch again. Are you shitting me?
Guess who they threw it at?
Don't tell me it's the same cat.
Guess who they threw it at? $100 million press man corner. Rookie out of Tennessee, not a twitched up dude, not much bigger or stronger. $100 million press man corner. And even look right now, coach. Look.
I don't want to, man.
Look at Marlon Humphrey's head. He's saying to himself, huh? He's got his head cocked like, did they just do that again?
You guys are you guys being the Chargers are in compressed formations all game. Now you want to spread out and throw hitches. I mean,
and again, Humphrey's got the inside leverage, but it's just not a high percentage throw, not a high percentage route, whatever you want to call it, not high percentage. You're just, what are we doing here?
Oh, why to turn on the camera late, Taylor, is because so they don't give away all the pointing and shit. Yeah, they're sliding out here. Well, too bad. So this is the one thing I'll say about the Ravens, which irritates me. They're lying. It's like they're. So I'm going to give them a little shit here. It's like the line works independently from the second level. You're coming off the edge. Run the grass. If this guy sets your ass and there's a giant hole, take the fucking inside. You worry about run. Okay, and I taught this to high schoolers. So I say this, like a lot of people on here, maybe not a lot of people, maybe some people, maybe everybody, maybe nobody. I don't know. But I'm sure there's people that are listening here at some point. I'm like, all right, this guy's a former high school coach shitting on guys making millions of dollars playing and coaching. Who the fuck are you? Who do you think you are? What are your credentials? My answer is I don't have any. So let's get that out of the way. No, I'm kidding, but no, really for serious. But also like I taught this to high school kids. Like that's what makes me so insanely like it makes me insane, just crazy about this stuff. It's like we taught gaps in the run, and if it was past, find grass. So it's 4th and 1. So know the call. You are pinching inside. You're canceling on the gaps. You're getting a guy off each edge. I mean, I've seen middle schools run the splits. Okay. And you're going to get fanned on. Okay. You're going to get fanned with this formation. Especially you have a guard, a tackle, so maybe they're trying to get 2 on the tackle. I don't know. But rip your ass inside, man. What the fuck? I don't understand that.
I don't grass overset. Yep.
And everybody else is pinching. Even Calais does it right this time. Everybody's coming in. I mean, I could tell you, listen, and a lot of things it's just experience. As soon as I saw this I knew it was pinch. We call it pinch double smoke. So if my dumbass can figure this out, I'm sure these cats can figure it out. And like Houston's been in the NFL for a long time, right?
Decade.
This is the same guy that was with the Chiefs forever, right?
Chiefs and then Colts. Decade.
Come on, dude. Like that shit drives me insane. All right, here's a little motion. All right, let's get into some coverage stuff. We got about a half hour left. All right, weak side rotation cover 3. The motion opens up the window here. And now turns them into straight zone. So this is where compressed formation can help. So I get the motion and stuff because now they're thinking, oh shit, this guy's coming full speed. Now I got to play like country 3. I got to drop curl to flat. And I'm going to tell you this. I don't give a shit how good you are at playing this technique. There are certain routes against certain coverages that you almost have to be perfect and you're still going to be stressed out. And this is where play action screws 3 deep. This is one of the problems. I mean, I'll tell you what I enjoyed about the Ravens I know the cool way to play defense now is to have your linemen play blockers and having these guys stack track and fall back. There ain't no falling back. These guys are running and playing aggressive, but this is where this can hurt you. This is where play action hurts you. We talked about this last week, the horizontal stretch. Or the vertical stretch, I'm sorry. Look at all this grass or turf or what, I don't know. Pardon me, I don't know what surface they're playing on. But look at that. They have you by the ass here, and they have you by the ass here. But you can see, and again, it's 3 deep coverage to curl flat. I mean, this is a high school. I don't know why he doesn't throw the curl here. It's wide ass open. I tell you what, and don't get me wrong, Herbert is awesome. I don't want to say anything about Herbert, but like as a whole, I think he had a bad game.
He had a tough day at the office. That's
right. But I think he's still phenomenal. But this, like that type of shit is like high school guys make that read.
Middle of the field.
I mean, close. Right here, pop it out. I mean, and he's got time. He ain't going to get there. Now, I'll say this, and I don't know how they coach their curl routes, but I mean, my man here needs to sit his ass down. Don't keep drifting inside. I don't understand that.
I mean, maybe that's what goes through Herbert's mind is like, I don't trust this guy.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because that's the 8th play on offense, but then he trusts him on 4th down.
Right.
That's the other thing I just thought of. Like, why doesn't he audible that to a slant? Like, does he not have freedom to do shit at the line?
I don't know. This might be just dumb as hell, but Herbert, the whole game, he seemed to be, I think they were really struggling with noise. I mean, he was like, and I don't know, they don't have hand signals. Or like, you got to have something. You got to have something easy.
Know, man. It's wild.
Tap a helmet, rub something, whatever.
This is how you put somebody on their ass. Watch this block because you'll see play action later on where he recognizes it, and you can tell the difference. So the Chargers ran because the Ravens are very cover 1 conscious, and even though this is 3 deep, technically, I mean, it looks like man. A lot of this stuff, like I said earlier, it could be just straight man. But watch him put 72 on his ass. Now, you said in the pre-interview that people are giving Patrick Queen shit. I'm going to tell you this right now. That kid can play football. That is hard to do. No, I don't know. I don't know dog shit about this lineman. I don't know. I don't, and I
This is
don't
the only thing I
care.
can't see. So I'm asking, does 72 trip or like he either
If he trips, it's at the exact perfect time to make it look.
I
Queen
couldn't
slipped his
tell,
ass
but
at 20
he
before.
if not, he straight
No, he
buckled
puts.
him.
I think he gets rolled up on, but his feet look like they're in the ground, and he gets put
Already.
on his ass.
Yeah, yep, I think you're right.
I mean, that's a good football play. I don't know. When you told me, and again, this is coming from a guy who doesn't want some a lot. This may be man. This may be cover one. It's hard to tell sometimes.
Boom.
This is pretty awesome by Elliott. Okay, so I think this is weak side cover 3 by the drops. Okay.
Yes.
This
He rotates down. Yep.
This is pushing 3. So you get a delayed route out here. This is freaking awesome. He sees him covering him. Is that Queen?
Yes.
So this is where zone coverage, and I give spot dropping zone a lot of shit, but this is where you can gain stuff. He ain't looking out here. So why are you going to cover him? So this is I get the argument for this. Watch Elliott here. Flip his hips, bang the over. I mean, Jesus.
And where he was able to take that angle and get into his hip pocket that way, the leverage he was able to get on him was beautiful.
Now here's what I don't like. And a lot of teams will do this. Now it's hard because you don't know which side to do it to, but I don't know why Clark bites here. But what I would have liked to have seen is if you're going to do this, I call this route speed. Some people call it Yankee Doodle. I don't know what the fuck. But here's what I would have liked to have seen is have him nail down on this and him go play the post.
Right.
But that's hard because you could also do it the other way. You could just as easily. So now I'm playing chalkboard wars, but you could just as easily do this and have him run the over. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Right now, he's pushing north. This guy is going to be the post. So what I've liked to have seen. Now again, this is easy for me to sit here on a Tuesday night with a laser pointer, can never make a bad call from the stands, but that's what I would have liked to have seen. If they're going to nail down on routes like this and he does it late, then he fucked up. He screwed somebody over because you can't do that. The back, somebody's got to, if you're going to turn it loose and go play the post. Bang, bang, play. Great coverage. I mean, and Smith did that. Really, Smith should have help. All right, this is a good route. I thought the Chargers did really well in 12 personnel in terms of their game plan. It's when they got into 11 that I hated. So they're going to motion a 2x2. This is really tough on the 3-through player. So I put this as cover 9 because of the drops here. Again, maybe that's how they're playing it in 1. But the thing that makes me think that's not how they're playing it, because there's a play where they play action and throw a screen to the tight end, and they latch onto it. So some of this stuff, they're playing like with cover 1 principles inside of cover 3. Because right now I'm thinking, oh, shit, that's cover 3, or that's cover 1, right? But then I'm watching everybody else zone drop. But this is what's tough on the 3-through player.
Yeah, they're spot dropping.
So this is where Palms, like my buddy Kyle Kogan, hates Palms coverage. But this is where Palms is helpful. Now, I wouldn't run it versus a set, but if you see this route concept a lot, if I got any high school guys here and you're seeing this where you're getting twins, because when you take wheels, when you have players that are your overhangs take wheels, they can drain you out 3 to the flat. And this is the problem. This guy is supposed to take 3 through with the play. It's a play action. It's a run. So he's thinking, oh, shit, I'm going to help on any inside routes. He delays, pops to the flat.
Right there.
There's nobody there for that. That's hard. That's a structural issue. Yeah, there's nothing you can do there. Because if he latches on, because here's what's going to happen. This is a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Okay. If he latches onto this shit right now, which he would have no reason to, this guy looks like he's blocking. They bang this over route, he's going to get yelled at for not helping. Now, he should get help from 56. Hold on. Let me try that again. He should get help from Josh Bynes. You like that? Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Pull that out. But that's a FU play. That's a shit. Not going to really help. Now, this is interesting. Play 2 of the game on defense. Play 2. Okay. They get into 13 jumbo personnel. So I call jumbo. If you ever see J, jumbo. So this is how I tag. If I got any coaches in here that are looking for different ideas to tag personnel, what I do personally is I count a 6 lineman as a tight end, and then a J means that one of the tight ends as those 3 tight ends is 1 lineman. If it's 2, I call it E for elephant. That's just personal preference. I haven't seen 3 yet. I haven't seen 3 extra offensive linemen in. I don't have anything for that. So they run duo. They run the wind back play, which if you watched our last week and the week before, we talked about the tilt 6-1 defense. This play was designed to beat that crap. I shouldn't say crap because it's very dismissive. It's awesome. But you can just see destruction, not really getting much from the wide copy. So let's go to the end zone. So they plus the front. So this is an under front thing. 3-4 teams, because they're playing 3-4 personnel. You could see them clapping, going, we need to plus this.
Yep.
A lot of times what will happen is, so for you 3-4 guys, so this is your tackle, that's your nose, this is your tackle, this Ravens call it rush and Sam. This would be your heavy end, and this would be your Sam. So what they're going to do here is they're going to plus the front. So now the 3 becomes.
And can I ask you one quick question?
Yeah, what's up?
So Bowser there is desperately trying to plus it because he's saying I can't hold this by myself. Like why does he want to plus that so desperately?
I don't think it's like it's oh my God, you need to help me thing. I think it's being like
alignment.
They'll put it on the edge guys because like I don't care how good you are, you can only see so much here, especially on the other side. You can't count linemen.
Yeah.
So you'll see this a lot where now this is very much a 3-4 thing. So now your rush backer is like a 4-3 end, your 3-4 tackle, your 3, your 4, your 4-eye, your 5 becomes the shade nose. Your nose becomes the 3. Your end could be a 5, a 6, a 7, a 9, whatever you want to do. And then your Sam is your Sam. So that's a plus. What I call plussing the front, or it's not plussing is not a verb. It's the noun. It's the name of the front. Here's the wind back play, and this is why you need to do this. Look at this play. If you don't do this, they just cave you here. Turn out, the wind back comes up through. There you go. Now, because he slides over, they have to double the 3 technique. Now you've got the single, which if any of you are in here have ever listened to me talk about on a podcast, why I love over front more than the under. It's versus this shit what I'm talking about. Now watch Calais Campbell actually detonate this lineman. This is what I call a throw choke. See you, bitch.
Toodaloo, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Watch this. See ya. Yeah. For the person to ask if I went to school with Calais, yes. He was a year. He graduated early, or he went to the draft early, but I think he was a year or 2 behind me. And I was in college good friends with his publicist, Lauren Rentschler. Shout out to Lauren. She was a poli-sci major, so we had a lot of classes together. Class was Wilfort too. Wilfort, Cortez, Kennedy came back to get his degree. All right, this was just an interception, so I had to put this on. They're playing zone 3 deep here. They're playing this more like zone because everybody's compressed in here. I think this might be a penalty, but they don't call it. So one for the good guys. These guys get every call in the book, so I don't care. Awesome play. I mean, it's just playing the seam. Now, here's what's interesting, and this is why they're playing it. This is why you never bite on the flat early, and this is a heads-up play. Younger guy, maybe not in the NFL, but college, high school would have seen 3 fast. What they're trying to do is to widen him and then bang it in this window right here. It's,
hit that seam.
Old school cover 3 beater, but he's playing it like Rip Liz, meaning he is scooching, he is backing up, he is getting a hand. and they're saying, all right, we're going to let us bring it to the flat. And here's what I'll say about the Ravens. They do the best job in the NFL of all defenses that I can think of off the top of my head. Let's watch the end zone of this. They do the best job in the NFL of playing hard man coverage, not giving an inch, minus that one play we watched, Jared Cook. There's always an exception rule. And then being able to play zone, country zone, let the ball bring you up to the flat, that sort of thing. And they are able to do both very well. It's very hard with the CBA limitations and everything. It's very hard to do this stuff. I know you guys think, oh, it's a pro athlete, you should be able to do it. But it's not that easy. Now, here's a little technique thing. He is depth and divider, even though Cook goes outside the divider, and I don't want to derail the conversation by going into that. He is outside leverage. He's going to play low shoulder, and then he's going to attack that, because the theory is I'm going to play low shoulder and outside. I'm going to it's kind of a trail. Yeah. Because if he plays on top, he can slide outside or inside. If he's inside, they can hit you outside. You got nobody out there. And if you play high shoulder, they can run a curl and throw it in there, or even pivot back out, almost like a comeback, and throw it there. And you got no help. Your help is inside. Your help is Queen here and Elliott in the middle of the field. Fantastic job. Give that man a raise. All right, here's a great weak hook example of Elliott playing, coming down and playing this out of a mug look. They just did such a good job. It was like every time they thought it was zone, it was man. And every time they thought it was man, it was zone. I mean, they had, and part of it is, when you're calling plays, it's like rock, paper, scissors sometimes. And what happens is, if you get behind the sticks or get behind the 8 ball, so to speak, you're chasing your tail. And you're thinking, okay, well, they did man last time, so I'm going to throw zone. Well, the other guy's already thinking that. And so if you have success early, or if you don't have success early in the game, and even worse, it's not even like, oh, we made a mistake and that's why we didn't convert. It was they kicked our ass. Sometimes it's better just to call things at random. And I know that's so counterintuitive, but
break the sequence. Break your play calling sequencing.
Right. But sometimes it's better just to do that rather than, chase your tail. And I feel like this is a situation of chasing the tail. They were running a lot of routes, running a lot of zone beaters when it was man beaters when it was zone. Actually, I didn't see a whole lot of true man beaters. But this is weak buzz rotation. This is dime. It's 3rd and 10. I think this is the play. No, this isn't the play. No. This isn't the play before they went for it on 4th down. I'm sorry. But he has 3 vertical on the bender. He plays right to it. They try to keep it skinny to keep it out of that window. 49, actually, he is supposed to overdrop 3, looking for something coming inside. Here's the bonus of overdropping like this, is when you drop outside of 3, it forces 2 to go inside. Or it forces 3 to go inside and declare more. Elliott makes a good job, or does a good job, gets in the window. But I'll say this: if that's Kelsey, if that's Kittle, if that's a higher tier of a tight end, I think he catches that ball and he gets tackled. Maybe he fumbles, maybe he breaks it up. But that's what they say. It's a game of inches. That's where the inches are counted, right there. Also, I want to talk about this real quick. I want to give a plug to some previous work I've done, or at least relate to it. So picture this. The odd mug stuff we've talked about. We talked about X's on a chalkboard. Okay, where you have a 3, a 5, a 0, a 3, and a 5 to force man protection. Here's the thing. And this is where maybe you can speak to this. They've got Houston as one edge guy. Oh, I don't have 54, of course.
Bowser.
Oh, yeah, Bowser. I mentioned him earlier. Damn it. I have him up in the outside linebacker spots. So they've got 2 decent edge rushers. You have Calais Campbell, who's a pass rusher more than he's like a run. He's great versus the run, but he's not like a play zero technique and clog. Okay. You've got 99. You've got Owe here. So you let your guy, that's your best guy, instead of playing, 3 down, because I would say, I could be wrong, I would say if my money was picking a group, I would take the Ravens outside backer rush guys are better than their inside backers. Would you agree with that or no?
Yeah.
So you don't want to take somebody off the field, but you don't want to necessarily, have Calais as the 0. So they put him over, spying, just eating people. And this is the other thing I hate. He's telling them which way to slide, I believe. They slide. He comes across to pick up the edge guy. So they do a good job of changing protections. But this is where Mike Zimmer has a concept. He's known for this. I don't think the Ravens do this. Very few teams do. It's called casino. Casino is one of those weird names. It's used for max blitzes. It's used for 50 double edge pressure where they drop everybody out from the inside. Georgia does that a lot. Zimmer uses it as a flip. So here's the unless. They don't do it here, but I'm going to give an example. And believe me, I am looking for a way to study the Vikings defense because they do so much cool shit from a schematic standpoint. Like the first time they have a really good game, they're coming on. We're coming on. We're talking the Vikings. I can't wait. So what they would do, let's say they're bringing the pressure this way, or let's say the pressure's coming this way. Let's just say they're doing something like this, right? They bring him down, go here. And let's say that's the plan. They teach the blitz to both sides. And so if this happens and they're like, oh shit, because he gets them to talks them into it. They would go casino, casino, casino. Now the exact same blitz that's mirrored would happen to the other side. Obviously, that doesn't happen here. I'm just using that as an example. Good protection. Just that guy's got to catch that ball. I mean, you
plain and simple. Like you said, it doesn't even really matter if it's. I don't even think it matters if it's Kelsey or Waller or whoever. You just got to suck it up and make that catch.
Here's some more screens. I don't understand these plays.
I think it's because the Ravens really struggled with a lot of misdirection. They were over aggressive in pursuit. I think they were taking some bad angles. I don't think they stayed in neutral very well as a defense and keeping their eyes and their feet and their shoulders square. So the Colts beat them up with that last week. The Chiefs usually beat them up with that. They had a couple. So I think they were just trying to let the Ravens beat themselves a little bit on some of these screens. And I think that's one of the areas the Ravens have improved a lot. So it looks like they, why are you running all these screens? I think there was good intention, but you could tell pretty early on that the Ravens weren't going to get beat by them, and they kept going back and back and back to them and back to them and back to them. So
I mean, we're in the fourth quarter, 12-17. And here's the thing: this is where you outsmart yourself. I'm trying to be nice. I don't even know who this guy is. Who's 82? Who is this? It's their second tight end, right?
That's they have a guy
third tight end.
That's not Cook, and that's not Parham. I don't even know that guy.
Your third best tight end. Okay, do me a favor if you don't mind. We go to NFL.com or whatever, an official. I just want it to be official. An official. Can you give me an official depth chart on the Charger and tell me where 82 is on the tight end depth chart?
Let's see here.
Because you have Eckler, right? He's their back. He's their top back. You've got Allen. You've got Williams. You've got all these guys. You're going to throw a screen to your second or third best tight end.
Steven Anderson. He is third on I looked at 3 depth charts. He is squarely third.
I feel bad. So Steven Anderson went to Piedmont Hills High School in East San Jose. Shout out to Matt Keasley, Steven's high school coach. Steven Anderson is a great human being. One of the best guys in the NFL. Like nice guy in the NFL. Not like a dick, but still. Okay, but you're doing misdirection screens to your third best tight. I mean, and here's the other thing. Okay, yeah, great for misdirections, but watch these guys try to block these cats. I mean, I don't get it. All right. And into press, this is why I always talk about playing press or playing tight. We've talked about this. Anybody that's left in here that's a coach, we talk about this all the time. The best way to defend screens is to play press zone. Okay. And this is what they're doing. They're playing cover 2, and the corner is playing closer than normal. Because here's what happens. They actually don't do it here. They don't even block the dude. They put the tackle in the corner. Here's how this is so irritating. This is screen. This is like Harry High School screen 101. You block 1, you block 2. Whoever you want to assign blocks 3. I mean, this is like freshman football shit. Now, maybe they're trying to switch it up because this guy sucks. And again, I'm criticizing guys who get paid a lot of money to do this shit. But why I'm always preaching, and I talk about this in theory, but I don't have like clips on the ready. If you are coaching here and you're playing dual screens, and what I call dual screens are any action where you're flaring fast backs and crap to try to get the backer to match and then throwing away from it, throwing a tunnel screen away, this is the best thing that you can do. Play press zone, so it's not man, and now you get an inside leverage player here. And the reason that playing press is good, now a normal team that would run this, again, he's going to block 1, he's going to fan and block 2, okay, is this corner, if he is pressed, they have to flatten out their block, okay? Now, this guy, because he can see this, because again, if this hook defender, this vertical curl, because curl defender, he's going to play the curl, but if 2 is out, he's going to look to push to 1. But if all of a sudden, in cover number 1, but if all of a sudden 2 has to block flat, he's going to know, oh shit, something's coming inside, so he can trigger faster. Because he can trigger faster, the tackle has to block flat. So now you have a half safety that is keying 2 guys that are having to block parallel to the line of scrimmage. Now he can come off the roof and go make a play and add himself into the play. I can't tell you how many times we had to do this shit. And whether it's halves or quarters, I know some of you might be like saying, oh, well, you said this was cover 2 and this guy's sitting and flat-footed. Maybe it is. But look how, again, they just don't block the guy and he goes and makes the play. I mean, it's a stupid-ass play. Well, let's say they block it like, Sarah High School's freshman, and also I don't know why this is the other problem was with this bluff. Now this guy has to help out in here because if he doesn't, with all this shit inside, if these guys blitz, on screens, you want to let pressure go, but double mugged egg at pressure, like it's cool to let a guy go late, but if you have A's and B's covered, now here's where the mug presentation screws the play up, in my opinion. And maybe this is why they do this. He has to help and give a hand inside and block before he can release out. Normally what you would do is, versus screens, you would set and then go. Right. You wouldn't come down and cave. I think they're having to do that because of all this mug. Maybe they don't. Maybe they just screwed it up. But now, and even worse for them is the guy that's in the window drops. So this was actually a fire zone. This is actually another variation of it's just one guy inside. So they're bringing both edge guys, or they're bringing one of the edge guys. They're bringing it inside. So it's what I would call a creeper. So only 4 guys are rushing. You're dropping into the window. You're screwed up. But this is how you can get a guy who's deep involved quicker, because it declares the blocks. That was a long way to explain that. But I've talked about this concept so much, and now I had a video of it. I was like, oh, shit, I want to talk about this. All right, we got a couple snaps left, which is good, great timing. All right, so here's spacing. They did a lot of this where they would just, run stuff here, and then try to horizontally space or whatever. This snap, this is country 2, which is something you don't really want to run ever across the board. But the Ravens, again, we talked about this at the top of the show. You give a little to get a little, or really give a little to get a lot rather. You run a couple snaps like this, it talks them out of this stuff, especially if you're showing these bluffs. This is cover 2 problems for all time. This is stuff that will always be a problem. You high-low the hook defender. This is a check down. You put somebody, when you're playing zone coverage, you expect to be, they front and back you side to side. You mean they put somebody in front and somebody behind, or they put somebody to the side and somebody to the side.
Everybody's in conflict and it's an easy read.
It's an easy read, quick, that's 7 yards right there.
Pressure
Easy
doesn't
money.
matter. You're not going to be able to get pressure that quick.
Nope. Yeah, I mean, this is easy money. I just wanted to show, I had to stress to show some really bad clips of the Ravens. I mean, at 7 yards, take what they give you. They gave you the, and that's the other thing that irritates me is some of these guys that label, the quarterbacks aren't throwing bombs, 60-yard bombs. It's captain check down and all this shit. I mean, if they're giving you 7 yards, you take 7 yards.
Low-hanging fruit. It's delicious.
Exactly. I call this violent shit. I love some of my notes. Violent shit. All right. I'm not an NFL offensive coordinator. Okay. I'm not an NFL defensive coordinator. But I'm going to play the Baltimore Ravens. I don't want to run plays that rely almost solely on receiver blocking.
I didn't know where you were exactly going to go with that.
Neither did I. I landed that bitch though pretty well.
Oh yeah, you did.
Okay, so they're running truck toss. They're trying to get is that Slater, the left tackle?
Yep.
They're trying to get him on the edge, but they're having to have my favorite NFL player, Steven Anderson, block, and they catch the Ravens in 2. Now, if they were in 1, and this is what I was saying, is the Ravens played a lot of zone on early downs. Or no, I actually had the other way around. They were playing a lot of man on early downs. This is actually
zone late, yep.
Countering to my point, so hopefully everybody will forgive me, but they did a really good job of mixing stuff up. So this is a call that you want to make. The last coverage that you want to make this versus is cover 2. And to be honest with
on
you,
the perimeter.
Right. And cover 2 is not great versus bunches because you can flood this shit and it creates horizontal stretches and you can bang
more
corner routes. Now this guy's got to sink and then you can high load the flat. We talked about this last week. It's a problem, but they're under center. So more likely than not, you're going to get truck tossed. But if it was gun, I would not want to. Let's just say this. If it was gun strong, 3x1, would not want to be in cover 2, being very honest with you. Because now you got to push everyone over, and now you're opening up a fat-ass slant window. Because you can't have this guy go over there. In fact, Nick Saban, who I refer to him a lot, I know his defense very well, plus I think he's the best defensive mind maybe in the history of football at any level. And I know maybe that's blasphemous to some, but that's what I believe, and fuck it, it's my show. But even all their cover 2s, they get out of it versus trips because it's just problems.
Vass, you're going to want to go 6, right?
Well, not even that. Yeah. You actually want to go 3 buzz. You want to insert and buzz rotation. But the reason is, again, resource allocation, because you don't know where the back's going to be.
Right.
Because they're not going to check. They're not going to check the coverage. Like, okay, well, if it's trips but the back is strong, we'll get out of it. Now they do have that. It's called an adjusted tag for quarters. They'll call like 7 adjusted, which means we're going to play cover 7 unless we get 3x1 with gun strong. But when they check out of 2, it's trips. Because here's why: if you don't and you get a fast 4, you have 1, 2, 3 guys underneath, and they have 4. And they can easily high-low you. What's the way to beat cover 2? Is you high-low the corner. Well, you run snag 7 flat. You send him, you send him, you send him, and you send him a little deeper so you can get the swing and you get 4 to one side. I can only push 4. Well, if I push 4, now there's nobody here. So now I'm going to have to man this up. And now there's voids. You can run, and you'll see. I didn't put this play on, but you'll see earlier in the game, they ran what I call a Texas route, the old West Coast offense, on a guy that was playing the back man-to-man. It's just not great. Okay? But you see it a lot in the NFL because that's what they do. I don't know why. I know that we talked about this last week because of the hashes. You can do it. Because if you try to play cover 2 to the field in high school or college when the hashes are much wider, it's a problem. But, I mean, this is just not great. This is just violent.
Not great, Bob. Not great.
I love that. I have a mug that says that. But it's not great, Dan, because I listen to Pod Save America because I'm a dirty liberal. It's okay. I love everybody, but they say not great, Dan, which they of course took from not great Bob. So I love that you pulled that reference.
There we go.
All right, here we go. I think this is the last clip. You're going to see that it looks like they're adjusting from cover 2 to 4 based on a fast 3 because I forgot. Oh, you see him pedal. He's pedaling out. So it might be maybe where I'm wrong is because in 2 you want to be inside here. You want to have this guy in this area.
Yep.
But whatever they're doing when they motion this back out here, Tavon does a good job of getting outside leverage now. We say ugly football plays happen outside and deep. He tries to force it in. This is one of the situations, and this is hard. Okay,
Just so much space.
There is, but here's what you got to do. This is the situation. Like if this was one of my kids, and I would do this all the time. You got to know you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them.
Boom.
You never want to walk away in football, so we got to think of something to replace that. But your job in this scheme is not to make the tackle. Your job is to set the edge. And I know that this would be blaspheme if I said this at the University of Georgia or some of the best teams, but dip and rip and force this thing to go back inside. You play with your hands. Now, I was giving the Chargers shit for bad blocking. Good job here. Allen does a good job. He gets the edge. Now, they only get 4 yards, but I would have liked to have seen him once that ball. Now, you might say, well, what if they fake it and throw behind him? How's he going to fake? He's going to run out here and then go here? I've never seen that before. If they're going to run double slant arrow, still, you're going to gain this here, and you got him. So you're 4/3 where you want to be. Great read by this backer. We saw this kind of play earlier with the stretch. This was, or a similar play with the stretch and the slant. He is clearly trying to block this guy. I would have liked to see him dip and rip. But I really had to strain to find shitty plays by the Ravens. There were a couple miscommunications because I don't want to just, I like to do the good, the bad, and the ugly. But anyway, that is all she wrote for plays. If anybody has, I was poli-sci. Anybody have any questions or anything they want to throw in? I know it's getting late. I don't want to keep spending much longer. But if anybody has some quick stuff. Oh, shit, we lost Spenny. Oh, we lost him. I might be flying solo. He's like, all right, I'm tired of this shit. Check the new comments if anybody has anything. Nice. The banana slugs, right? Or the gauchos. I can't keep it right. I can't keep it. No, the gauchos are Irvine. No? Yes? Help me out here. We're talking about, it's time to go when we're talking about poli-sci and mascots. Anyway, if anybody has any football coaches, yep, they are the gauchos. Okay, who's the banana slugs? That's Santa Cruz, right? Yeah, okay. They'd have that. If anybody has anything that they want to add, I'm going to roll. I'm done. We were done with the clips. I like to answer questions. To kind of button it up, we are next week again. We'll be back. I won't know till Sunday what I'm going to do. I try not to choose the Monday night game. First of all, while you guys are here, we got Spenny Bag. I thought you were just like, I'm out of here. Fuck this.
Yeah, right. No, the internet cut out for a quick second. My apologies.
That's all right. So, do we like the red dot or no, guys? If you're here, do we enjoy that? Can I get on a future Tuesday night? We got to have content creators or writers for one team or national guys. That's the one thing that we want to do. Patriots 3rd and 25 versus the Cowboys allowed a 24-yard dig to Lamb. I saw the one where they played cover 0 outside leverage. They're playing like outside leverage cover 0, which you're compressed, so I guess, but you got to get out of that call then. You either got to live with playing inside and give up the outside, or you have to do something. Giving up over routes to the middle of the field is tough. Anyway, I think I'm going to call it here. Guys, if you want to shout any questions out at me, the thread for that I posted for tonight's show, if you have any additional questions, go ahead. Follow me on Twitter at Coach Vass, the show's account at MDGA Podcast. Spenny, go ahead and give us your plugs. Tell us where we can find you again for those who weren't here at the beginning.
BaltimoreBeatdown.com, at Ravens for Dummies on Twitter. And that's most of the good stuff. Coach Vaz, got to ask you one thing. You watch this game pretty thoroughly now. One thing that helps the Baltimore Ravens this year, based on what you see. If they could get something right from here on out, one key to unlock.
Oh, shit.
Playing a little bit better defense.
It's a great question. I don't know, man. I'd have to almost watch another game. The stuff that they made mistakes on were like stuff that happens. It's humans. I didn't see anything that was like, glaring. Besides that one play where 21 was backing up with that cut split. I mean, that was really the only play of the entire, that was something that was glaring, that wasn't like
pre-snap glaring and post-snap, like
I didn't stumble or a guy just beat me or, you know what I mean? A lot of that stuff is like, and there's always a lot to work on, but I didn't see anything that was like, shit. I think, I don't know. That's a great question. Not that I could see right now. Now, again, like one thing I'll say is, don't get high on your own supply. A couple weeks ago, the Chargers look like they're going to win the Super Bowl, and then they have 2 weeks back to back where their defense gets shredded. So, I mean, the Ravens could play tomorrow. Yep, tomorrow. This week, are they on a bye? Are they playing this week?
They play the Bengals at home.
So they'll probably look like gangbusters. Sorry. But I mean, I they could give up 40 to Burrow and company. You never know. And it's the NFL.
Matchup league.
It's designed. It's designed for that. It's designed for, I mean, look at everybody was kissing Phil Snow's ass at me, including myself. And now they can't stop anything. So, I mean, that's why the old cliche bullshit of never get too high, never get too low, that sort of thing. I think it's true. I think I didn't see anything glaring. I think that, if they could get a little bit more, I mean, and I'm only saying this to be picky because you're like really asking this question.
I'm asking, pick it apart.
They got to get more out of their edge rushers because there's going to be times where they're going to have to rush 3. I mean, obviously when you're rushing 3, you're looking for coverage sacks, but there's some things where, I have one. They got to get the slants right. When they were blitzing, you saw Calais.
That actually did come up at least 3 times, I believe. That was something I was going to get to eventually, but they weren't making it easy for each other.
Yeah, and of course, in that level, like Calais was able to like step in and then be like, oh shit, and went back out and contain. Like where at my level, I would have had to have a guy like we would have had to work to be perfect in the steps and still probably wouldn't have gotten it. But I didn't really see. I'm not really seeing anything that was just like, but that's fixable. I mean, you do some walkthroughs on some trash cans, and
so you think when they're going
fine.
Tuesday or I guess like Monday into Tuesday, that's what they're talking about.
I don't know exactly how the NFL teams, because they're so protective over their practice structure, which is very
That's
strange.
true. Buttoned up.
I put together a list of questions and I'm not saying anything out of turn. I mean, but like I had Mike Kafka on the Offensive Podcast, friend of mine. He's the quarterback coach for the Chiefs. And I put together a list of questions that I thought would be like nailed on safe. Like, no way they're going to say no to this. And I asked about some practice structure stuff, and they were like, yeah, we can't talk about this. And I was stunned. But then there was some stuff that he could talk about that I would have never thought he could. So, but I know that one thing that was hard for us, and I don't want to get into it, but we played, because we played on Saturdays and half the teams we played on Fridays. It was hard for us to schedule this. And plus you're in high school, but like one of the things that I think the Saban guys do best is they have correction periods on Sunday, because they'll do a light practice on Sunday after the game. I don't know how the NFL works with that, but at some point they're going to have to do corrections. That was a big Jeremy Pruitt thing that he brought to Alabama that they did at Tennessee when they were big on that. And there's a lot of carryover in the NFL. At my level, it was hard because I was actually talking to Jim Leonard on Monday or Sunday about this, and we were talking about the game. And
he's a badass.
I love Jim, but I said, great job, whatever. And of course he was, the players are great. I'm like, okay, you had a great plan. Just take the fucking compliment. But he said, I got to flood, we got to get through this Army thing. Because we were talking about something down the road or something. He's like, well, I got to get through this Army stuff first. And for us, it was hard because we would play these double tight, double wing, high school scrum offenses and then turn around and play the spread. And it was just literally like, we're not going to see this shit for the rest of the year. Like it was like it was useless. But at that level, especially in the NFL, the offenses are so similar. I mean, everybody runs inside and outside zone and duo. Some teams run counter, and not many, but some do. Shit, I don't even. With saying that, I can't even name one off the top of my head. But I don't study NFL offenses. I probably know more about basketball than I do NFL offense.
Ravens run counter, Chiefs run counter,
That's
Patriots
true.
run counter.
There you go. See, this is why you're the man. I focus on this one little itty bitty thing, like really deep, and then everything else is a disaster. But so that's really the long way of saying this is it is very important to make sure you got all that stuff, especially like that play where they were pushing 4 strong. But I didn't see anything that was like, oh shit, like they got a problem here. They have the interesting thing about the Ravens, and I alluded to this, is they have ways, and I talked about this in the Chargers the previous week. The Chargers impressed me because they played and I forget who was against. But
last week, Chargers Browns.
Before that, when they had a close game, they won a close one.
Raiders.
Was it Raiders? Okay,
maybe.
Yeah, I think it was the Raiders, and they won a close one, and they battled it out and played great defense and everything. Ran the ball, played it, and then they were able to win in a shootout. The Ravens can do that on defense, meaning they can play tight man coverage against explosive receivers.
They can be flubber. They can be whatever you want. Robin Williams' little creation.
There you go. And you can stand up to, like, nobody's going to bully them. And nobody's going to come in and get, try to Stanford their ass and get in like 23 personnel and try to run them over. Like, they're able to stand up. They're able to bring pressure. They're able to bring different types of pressure.
Zone, man, press, off.
They're the most complete defense. I'm not saying they're necessarily the best, because
they're not dominant, but they're the most well-rounded.
I would say schematically. Now, players, that's a different discussion. I'm just talking about from X's on a chalkboard, nameless, faceless dots. They are, and then infusing the personnel. I don't see anybody off the top of my head, and I'm just talking about the defense. I'm talking about the offense, because if the offense starts turning over the ball and gives people short fields, and everything gets. That's a whole different deal. But like
the snowball into the avalanche.
I think they can handle running quarterbacks, and scramblers, not like runners, designed runners. Maybe they could too, but I mean specifically, scramblers. They kept Herbert can make plays with his feet, and they kept his ass.
That was what was really surprising to me. They really didn't move Herbert a ton. They didn't utilize any option concepts at all. None of that stuff. It felt like they just wanted him to sit tight.
I think they didn't move him because of the edge pressure. Because the problem is if you go into the wrong side, and all their protections, they were very fan conscious, like blocking the edges, which the Ravens do a very good job of bringing their edge guys more than other teams. Which normally, because if you're, and I'm not saying Tavon Young is the greatest edge rusher of all time, but trying to get a guy in space to block a DB coming in at fast at a hard angle, that's tough sometimes. So you don't even need to be that great of a blitzer. You just need to have
playing below your belly button, playing below your belt.
You got to have a good feel more than like be some like dominant edge rusher. But what I didn't see is I didn't see Herbert make many plays when they were overloading blitzes, because they didn't bring many. It wasn't like they were rushing forward and adding a fifth guy inside and clogging up the middle. When they were bringing those overloads, he didn't do anything that was like, they weren't throwing hots. They weren't he didn't like get out of there
Nothing
because
was
that's one
hot.
of the worries. But the other thing they did is they had Calais as the contain guy. So some of it's psychological, like, and we talked about this, I think 2 weeks ago with Brandon Staley. Like the big hole in their bear stuff was the A gap to Aaron Donald's side. Well, you have to run inside Aaron Donald. Psychologically, you're like, I don't care if it's no thank you. Like, I'm good. So some of it is psychological in the sense it's like, okay, I'm going to roll to Calais Campbell. Now, I'm not saying Calais Campbell's Reggie White or anything, but he's not a guy that you're like, I'll roll to his side. I'll be good. I mean, and to that point, as you saw the play where he stepped inside and then was like, oh, shit. He almost like bump comboed like an O lineman, like bump comboed out to the fucking edge. So I don't know. And I totally agree, Ryan. Like that was the first thing. One of the first things I said to Spenny when we talked about doing this and got into the nuts and bolts was he looked flustered and he looked like something was wrong more than just like, oh,
Dejected
I had a bad
a little
game.
bit. Yeah.
And it was early. I wouldn't be surprised. And I don't like I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. I didn't even stay at a Holiday Inn Express lately. But if I had to bet and you put a gun to my head, I would say something's up with him. He's carrying a small injury or either that or he had sometimes, and this sounds so dumb, but sometimes guys just get headaches and shit. And it just, when you're playing a team like the Ravens.
Traveling West Coast to East Coast, 1 o'clock game, didn't get a good night's sleep. You got a headache. You're a little dehydrated, some shit.
And especially when you're playing a team like the Ravens, and all of this is conjecture. We're just speculating. Yeah. You don't have to screw up much to be thrown off. But anyway, Spenny,
thank you so much for having me on. It was a blast. I learned a ton. I appreciate it. Everyone, make sure to like, subscribe, give this man his flowers. He's killing it. Thank you so much, Vass. This was awesome.
Thank you very much. And check out, throw your plug again.
BaltimoreBeatdown.com, at Ravens for Dummies on Twitter. I'm getting out of here.
Ravens for Dummies. Good night, guys. I'm going to go watch Succession. Didn't get to catch it last night. I was working for you. I was doing this for you. Or I guess 2 nights ago. Anyway, love you guys. See you next week.